Hello, Patriots, and welcome back to the Patriot Dad channel, where we can discuss current events, modern issues, and culture, all while keeping it as real as possible. Now, I've very much enjoyed Tom MacDonald's interviews that we've done on the channel so far. His interview with Ben Shapiro and then the Officer Tatum were very informative and interesting. Y'all recommended that I do a reaction to the Dopey Podcast interview with Tom MacDonald, so we're going to be doing that now. This is a significantly longer podcast, so this recording and editing is going to take quite a while, but it's what y'all asked for, so let's get right into it. All right. Let's see what new things we can learn today.
1, 2, 3.
So hello and welcome to Dopey, the podcast on drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. My name is Dave, and this
I have never seen the Dopey Podcast. That is quite the introduction.
is a very exciting day because it is not often we have the #1 Billboard artist on Dopey. He is in recovery. He's a rapper. He has tattoos on his face. He's very controversial. His name is Tom MacDonald. Welcome to the show.
That is an amazing introduction.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm good. It's a big deal. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You guys are doing a cool thing, and obviously I have a little bit of experience with what you guys talk about, so it made sense.
So you know, the Instagram page is called The Hangover Gang. Is that the HOG under your lip, Hangover Gang?
Sure is, brother.
And describe, before you say anything else, what exactly is the Hangover Gang?
Well, it's sort of like morphed and evolved over the years because it started out. I was a big drinker once upon a time, and so were
You don't say.
the guys that I hung out with. So it started as just like, 3 or 4 of us that were just getting plastered all the time, and just having like what we thought were like the best times of our lives, like all the time. So I just kind of like, we were always hungover, and I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's right on the nose. We were,
Or right under the nose, on your lip. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I was kind of wondering where this wholesome group that I see now, and just amazing folks that follow on the channel and always provide such good information, how you all got the name Hangover Gang, how we got the name, because hopefully you consider me one of the group now. But folks, this makes a lot more sense. It has an origin story.
we were always hungover, and I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's right on the nose. We were the gang, so we were just the Hangover Gang. I got a T-shirt made, and I gave my dad like the first T-shirt, and
That is not a Father's Day present that I would want.
that was, geez, like probably 10 years ago. So I think we've all sort of like grown up and evolved as human beings, whereas we're still like just a group of guys that's trying to have the best time of their life as often as possible. We've just sort of removed copious amounts of alcohol from the equation. So,
Which is probably for the better.
Right on. And what was the first tattoo you put on your face? Just out of curiosity.
this one across my forehead:
What does it say?
live and die in a dream.
All right. Were you using when you did it, or were you sober? Or is that a stupid question?
That's not a stupid question. There are no stupid questions.
I think I can prove. I think I'll be able to prove by the time this interview is over that there are stupid questions.
How have I not run into this podcast before? This guy's hilarious.
We'll see if we can find one.
Sure. You know what, man? Like, I sort of, I didn't quit drinking sort of like all at once. I mean, I sort of did. I quit a lot of things all at once, but a few things kind of trickled back in and hung out for a bit, and then eventually sort of like fucked off permanently. So I might have been like having, a couple drinks here and there or whatever, but it was nothing compared to, the inception of Hangover Gang. So.
Okay, and what came
Good
first? Alcohol and drugs, or love of hip hop?
Love of hip hop.
Oh, okay. That is not the order that I thought it would be, but okay.
And hit me with it. How did it happen? What was the first rap song you fell in love with? First rapper? What's the story?
Dude, it was crazy. So I used to live in this like really small town called Mission in British Columbia in Canada. And, you know, it was like one of those towns that like if you blinked driving in, you were already driving out.
Did it have a stoplight though? Because that's the real measurement. If it has one stoplight, very small, or no stoplight. If it has two stoplights, now you're in a city. I lived in one of those once.
It was real small. So there was like this one sort of like main drag where there was like the arcade and like the movie theater and like a couple convenience stores and shit like that. And one of the stores was a pawn shop. And my dad was always like big into like going to garage sales and swap meets and like all that type of stuff. So we used to roll to those places together all the time. And we went into this pawn shop one time.
Frugal.
And he gave me $5 and he said, you can get anything in the pawn shop with this $5.
Anything? Sorry, $5. That's a cultural reference some of you may not get.
Anything you want. $5 doesn't go very far in a pawn shop.
But it does in Vietnam.
But I found like a plastic milk crate full of CDs, and the CDs were $5. So I was digging through all the CDs. I think at that point in time I had 2 tape cassettes. I had Offspring,
Good choice.
No Doubt, and
Yeah.
I had a Marilyn Manson CD. And that's like all I had.
Okay.
Oh, I had a Big Shiny Tunes CD, which is like a compilation of rock music. That there were these compilation CDs that they used to release in Canada. It was like a big deal. So I didn't have very much music, but I had a boombox. So I'm digging through this thing, and all the CDs are $5, but I find Tupac, All Eyes on Me.
Ooh.
And I had
Nice.
heard Tupac, the name, before. I'd never heard he was a huge icon
Star.
at that point
Sure.
in time. Yeah. So I'd heard his name around, never heard his music or anything like that. But the selling point to me was All Eyes on Me was a double CD set. So for $5, I'd get 2 CDs instead of 1 CD.
Smart.
So just thinking economically, I was like, you know what? I'll get more music for my $5 if I get this Tupac CD. So that's what I'm going to do.
Smart.
Bought the Tupac CD. And, you know, I think that was the only 2 CDs that I listened to for probably like the next like year. And I've always been like that. I never, you know, when I fall in love with rock music, I don't listen to like a wide array of rock music. My favorite, the band, the music that spoke to me the most, that was made by Led Zeppelin. And
Sure.
so that's all I listened to. I just listened to Zeppelin. So when I found Tupac, I didn't immediately go start listening to the DMXs and Jay-Z's and whoever else was cracking at the time. I just listened to Tupac. That's it. And I just listened to that straight.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar in my music tastes. I tend to not stray too far from the ones that I know and like. And if it wasn't for the requests here on the channel for me to really branch out, I probably never would have. So thanks to you guys for pushing me to do it, because I've enjoyed the ride a great deal.
And then years later, I was getting on this like yellow school bus that used to take me home after school. And this kid sits down next to me on the bus and he's got this little Discman with him. And he's like, dude, you have to listen to this. I stole this CD from my brother. And I was like, what is it? And he's like, this guy's name's Eminem. He's a white rapper. And I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Those don't exist.
Yeah, that's probably trash. And he's like, no, man, you got to listen to it. And I remember putting my headphones on and just being like, holy shit. Like, because, you know, there's a certain disconnect between like a little white kid from like the suburbs who's listening to Tupac. Like you can love it and it can be all you listen to. You can be infatuated with it, but there's a disconnect there. He's talking about a lot of things in a life that I'm not familiar with, that I don't directly relate to. So when I heard Eminem start talking about stuff like just the crazy nonsensical shit and the problems with his folks and the trailer park and all this other stuff, those are things that I'd seen. And then
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I also used to listen to a lot of rap back, and I know I don't look like it, but, you know, old gangster rap. I was a West Coast guy, right? So I grew up in Orange County, California, in the suburbs. So I understand Tom's struggle here. Used to like Mac 10, Tupac, like a lot of these. Oh, California Love, guys. How can you hate that song? How can you not just love it? Especially if you're from California. But yeah, Cottonmouth Kings, like so many artists. It's like, but still, like Eminem didn't really speak to me on a level like it did him, I guess. Maybe it's because my life, my upbringing, I couldn't really relate. It's not really things I saw. Still enjoyed it though, at least until he decided to get political. Why is it all the good artists get political and it just divides their audience? And most of them go a direction that I just can't follow.
Been around, and that bridged the gap for me where I was like, oh my God,
White
I
people
can
can
do
rap.
that. I could write raps. I don't have to be like the gangster drug dealer guy. I can just be me.
Yeah.
So that was the big moment for me. So,
So how long after listening to Eminem were you like, fuck it, I'm going to give it a shot?
Well, I secretly like wrote poems and rock songs and raps and stuff for like a long time. Like actually my dad was just at the crib the other day and he brought me like a binder full of these like old fucked up raps that I used to write, like, and stash them in this binder.
The vintage Tom MacDonald lyrics. Right on.
Dude, I'm sure some of those were crazy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So I wrote them for like a long time. And just, I don't know, just, I was sort of preoccupied because, I guess I wouldn't fully have the confidence in myself to step out on a public stage and be like, I'm a rapper now. So I just secretly just wrote that for music for a long time. And I actually got into pro wrestling. I like really fell in love with like WWF. And
back before it became WWE, thanks to the World Wildlife Federation, when it was still good.
For whatever reason, I was like, oh, like that's something that I could do. And the pro wrestling stuff touched me in a really similar way that the music touched me.
Phrasing.
It was really, that's another story that's pretty fucking crazy.
Let's hear the story.
So
wait, hold on.
He's like, whoa, hang on. Don't skip that. I like that Dave's doing this. He's like, no, we got time. Slow down. Just go over it, bud.
Any good story? That's my world. What's a good story that you weren't going to tell?
Well, just like the wrestling stuff, essentially, like, I had been getting like, I was always sort of like a kind of like a timid kid. I never had like a whole lot of friends or anything like that. I actually,
how did you get into pro wrestling, bro?
Actually like dealt with like getting like bullied pretty like intensely when I was a kid, like to the point where
Fighting
like
back.
Man, these kids invited me to their house one time. This is always the story that I cite when I think back on the bullying. It just like left the craziest imprint on me. These kids invited me to their fucking house. And that was sort of known that they didn't like me, but for whatever reason, they were like being cool to me that day. And like as a kid who just like,
it's a trap,
like wanted to be fucking accepted by anyone. I think people get this like Stockholm syndrome type of shit where like you want your bullies to fucking like you for whatever reason,
which is crazy.
Sure.
So
acceptance.
They invited me. Yeah. So they invited me to their house. I went over and knocked on the door and they were waiting on the fucking roof. And they actually dumped a whole bunch of water on top of me when I knocked on the door. And it was like -30 middle of the winter in Canada.
Okay, I grew up in Southern California. That is not something I would have thought of right out the gate when you say they dump water on you. Holy cow, you could kill a guy.
And I had to walk home like frozen solid, but my jeans frozen to like my legs. It was fucking gnarly. So I had to deal with a lot of like weird shit like that, getting bullied by kids and stuff. And I remember, me and my dad moved away from my mom and my sister.
Man, kids are assholes.
Just because there's a lot of layoffs and shit happening in my hometown at that point in time. It's tough for dad to find work. And that's when the big oil boom was happening in Alberta. My dad got a job working in some sort of management position in the oil fields or whatever in northern Alberta. So me and my dad moved to Alberta, leave my mom and my sister in British Columbia.
Mission. Right.
Yeah, in Mission. And me and dad are living in a basement suite in Edmonton. And like we got our couches from the garage sales and like we were sleeping on an air mattress together that would like, we'd wake up in the morning and we'd be sleeping on the concrete floor because it leaked during the night. And it was just like fucking gnarly. Like we were trying to get our life started so we could move my sister and my mom in. One day I get home after school. I'm sitting in the living room on this thin little fucking carpet on top of the concrete floor. And I flipped on the TV and we had like 20 channels, and one of them was pro wrestling. And I guess that night, the big main event of Monday Night Raw was Stone Cold Steve Austin against The Undertaker. And I had no idea who either one of these fucking guys were. For whatever reason, I stopped to watch it. This guy's walking around outside with this microphone, and he's like interviewing all of these fans that are standing outside of the arena, and he's asking them like, who do you think's going to win tonight? Who do you think's going to win tonight? And everybody is saying like, oh, I think the Undertaker's going to win because he's the dead man. It was a first blood match, so first person to bleed loses.
Stone Cold, man. Stone Cold.
Right.
So they're asking, and all these people are like, oh, the Undertaker's going to win. He's the dead man. He doesn't bleed, and he's going to beat Steve Austin's ass, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, this poor fucking Steve Austin guy is going to get fucked up. Like, right? This is going to be gnarly, right? So then, and whatever, I was hooked, so I wanted to watch it, and the Undertaker comes out with all the music and the lightning and the scary shit. Yeah.
Oh, dude, the entrances, WWF, man, they were so good. So good.
And I was like, oh my God, like this guy is going to fuck this other dude up like bad. And so Undertaker's in the ring, and then Steve Austin's music comes out and he walks through the curtain. And I just remember that like he was walking into a situation that seemed like almost certain defeat, and he did not give a fuck. He was like walking to the ring with a purpose. He was not afraid. I was scared for him. He was not fucking afraid. And he went in there and
it's almost like he knew the script.
Beat the shit out of the Undertaker. And I remember thinking to myself that character that was Steve Austin to some degree like embodied me. And the Undertaker embodied sort of these bullies and these daily fights I was up against.
Right.
I can see that.
So to see, so I was just like, oh my God, this is the most incredible fucking thing I've ever seen. And it hit me on such a level that I was like, I need to do that. I'm going to do that. So to bring it back to the music stuff, I was writing music, but I had discovered pro wrestling. And I ended up going headfirst into pro wrestling for many, 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 many years. But I didn't stop writing the music and stuff sort of behind the scenes in my private time. And then when the wrestling stuff sort of culminated and reached its unfortunate conclusion, I had like a bunch of music and stuff that I've been writing for years.
Wait, hopefully we get to that, because I'm actually kind of curious about his wrestling career. So hopefully we circle back to that, because he said unfortunate conclusion.
And I needed an outlet for, wrestling was my exhaust. That's like where I let everything out. That was my creativity. That was my art form. And without that, super frustrated, having to bottle up a bunch of stuff, not getting to express myself the way that I wanted to express myself. So I started taking all the music I'd been writing, bought a microphone, bought some recording software, started making beats, started recording music, slowly started releasing music, got on my first rap show. It was actually a show that was being thrown by my girlfriend Nova back in Canada. And
nice.
Fuck, man, here we are.
But I have a lot of questions. First of all, the crossover between hip hop and wrestling is really interesting because there are similarities in terms of like braggadociousness, like in rap music and wrestling exists. Yep. I don't know if you know this guy, Peter Rosenberg. I just interviewed him. He's like the Hot 97 DJ in Manhattan. Yep. He's also a WWE commentator. I know a lot of people who are into hip hop and wrestling similarly. What are you doing, Nora? Close the door. What are you doing, baby? Nora, go downstairs. My daughter's unbelievable.
Oh man, having my kids walking while I'm recording is I totally understand it. I get it. That's hilarious.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I don't even know what she asked me. What did she ask me? She wanted to get chocolate with Lucy, I think.
That's so relatable.
This is the most important interview in my whole career, and she wants to have chocolate with Lucy. We're gonna do some pro wrestling downstairs when this thing is over. But I think there is a great, interesting crossover between wrestling and hip hop. Expression, performance wise. Obviously, hip hop is poetry. Hip hop is music. Hip hop is a different art form. I was a kid. I loved wrestling as a kid. and I loved hip hop as a kid.
Yeah.
And I liked the crews in similar ways. Like I liked the hip hop crews and I liked the wrestling crews and I also liked superheroes. And I think all those things are kind of connected.
They are.
But I guess
Yeah.
this is a show about drugs, addiction, and dumb shit, though.
Yeah.
When did using come in? Hip hop, wrestling, or using?
I don't know if it was sort of directly related to like anything. I mean, there's a lot of partying, and
You can see Tom's real. I don't know if he's ever been asked that, because it looks like he's having to really think carefully about his answer. Like he's like, oh God, I don't know what it's actually attached to or related to. Like that again, it's the main theme of the podcast, but like that was a very well thought out question.
I mean, there's a lot of partying and drugs and alcohol and bullshit in both
Yeah.
the wrestling and the hip hop culture.
Sure.
So I guess like I started drinking and, you know, smoking weed and stuff like that when I was in the wrestling business. Like I saw a lot of drugs and crazy shit like in wrestling locker rooms and on the road and at wrestling after parties and stuff. Like you hear stories about, you know, rock stars and their parties and shit. That's fucking nothing compared to the way that pro wrestlers party. It's dismal in comparison. Like it's fucking nuts.
Which I've seen interviews with, I think it's Jake the Snake Roberts and some of the other people talking about some of that partying and the addictions that go on in the wrestling industry. Crazy world, people. It's a crazy world.
I got to interview Jake the Snake Roberts once, and
he knows.
Holy shit, he fucking brings the fucking dopey. When's the first time you got high?
I think the first time I got high was probably just smoking weed with one of the boys, like after a show or something like that. I'm just trying to fucking, there's got to be the
Like
first time I got high. Actually, you know what? I think the first time I got high was probably like grade 9 or grade 10. I think that like we all just used to hang out in like a homie's basement and we just used to like whatever, smoke weed and just chill out down there and just do kid shit.
That's risky as hell as a kid. You smoke in someone's basement, their parents are going to smell that shit, man.
And one of the guys actually he's actually passed away now from an overdose. He owned a weed store in Canada, and I worked at the weed store. And he was invested in the wrestling promotion or something. So I used to work at the weed store, and like that's where I got the lowdown on like all of the dope shit, like the salvia and the kratom and like all the weird like legal substances, the spice and all that shit. Like that was all coming through our store, and like so that's where I kind of got the DL on like
I know nothing about any of that.
all that shit. So smoking weed with like my friends just as a recreational fun thing became like a fucking way of life, working at like the weed store, where like we were always fucking high. We were smoking weed before work, we were smoking weed fucking on
during
lunch
work.
breaks, on coffee breaks, like all the whole thing, you know.
I guess when you're at the store,
you know, I don't ever remember there being. I remember the first time I got fucking drunk for sure.
What was that?
But I was just like at a party when I was like 16 and, you know, maybe a little bit younger, 15 or 16.
I don't remember the first time I got drunk. Probably about the same time though, 14, 15. I have vague recollection of going into a friend's parents' liquor cabinet, drinking stuff, and then replacing it with water. Like, come on, guys. We all know that's a horrible, horrible way to try and hide your drink. When the brown alcohol starts to get way too light colored, like I think his dad knew.
And we were just like one of the first fucking house parties that like any of us had went to. And I got a fake ID from a friend of mine. It was actually his brother's ID, and his brother was like a bartender in the party district. So I got one of his old IDs that was expired, but nobody ever questioned me about it. We didn't look anything fucking like each other at all, but it worked. So I went into the liquor store and I bought a 24-pack of Smirnoff Ice in cans.
Okay.
And took that to a party, and fuck me, dude. I think I probably drank 18 of those fucking things. I almost died. I got like alcohol poisoning. That
Probably almost got diabetes.
party ended up going from that house to like a hotel, and we were just drinking in this hotel, like just fucking stupid kids.
Sure.
And I remember that, like, it got to a point where, like, you know, I was passing out and I was walking and I'd blink and I had moved 100 feet and blink again and I moved 100 feet. I was throwing up blood. Like, I had like alcohol poisoning. And
Okay, thankfully I've never done that.
I probably should have died that night, but I woke up the next day and I was like, well, that was fucking awesome.
Right. Perfect reaction,
like,
right?
That is not the reaction I thought he was going to say.
Yeah, I was like, I'm definitely doing that again. And then just that was my thing was alcohol. I just really got into drinking, and there was other fuck ups along the way with some prescription pills and shit like that. And but my big thing was always drinking. So
What was the pills situation?
just working up north on the oil rigs and shit, and you know, a bunch of construction workers. We were fucking
Like Percocets?
100 miles from civilization, like in the middle of the fucking forest, building an overflow camp. I was a carpenter. We were building an overflow camp for the guys that worked at the oil rigs at Syncrude and Suncor and all these big oil places. That's when the oil boom was really fucking rocking, and they couldn't get enough guys to go to Fort McMurray and in northern Alberta to deal with these oil rigs. So everybody was getting a job. It was sort of like the first time that uneducated people, and I mean uneducated in the sense that you didn't have to go to university, you didn't have to go to college, and there was an opportunity to make a fucking boatload of money.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that people that weren't experts in anything in particular could get a job, be making fucking $10,000-$15,000 a month. So we're all up there building this overflow camp because the oil rigs have got so many employees now that they need places to house guys. So we're in the middle of fucking nowhere, building an overflow camp for these guys to live. And we're 100 miles from civilization in the middle of the forest. Like we're having to shut down work in the middle of the day because there's bears and shit roaming onto the site. Like it's like fucking intense. And there's nothing to fucking do up there. There's no TV. There's no fucking radio. There's no fucking recreational activities.
Right.
There's fuck all. Like, unless like you're bringing a keyboard and a computer from your house, which I ended up doing and made some music up there. If you're not bringing your own shit to camp to keep yourself, you know, stimulated, there's fucking nothing to do. So, so a lot of us would drink, man. And it was beautiful out there. You're in the middle of nowhere. You can fucking light shit on fire and blow shit up, and fucking, you know, there's a river. You can go fishing. Like that's all there is to do. So we're out there just getting fucking plastered all the time. And then one of the guys was like an ex-military dude, and he had like some fucking, I think he said he had brain aneurysms or some shit. Whether that was fucking real or not, who fucking knows. But he would go to the doctor and he'd get scripts for like oxys and somas and shit like that, and then he'd bring him back to the camp. And we were all so fucking dumb at that point in time that we didn't understand that we'd all get drunk and he'd be like, hey, you want like one of these oxys? You want one of these oxys? And we'd be like, what's that?
Oh, don't mix things, guys. Alcohol's bad enough. Drugs are bad enough. Don't mix drugs and alcohol.
And he's like, oh, it's just like a fucking painkiller. Like you get a buzz off it when you're drinking. So we'd be like, okay, like, sure, I'll take one of those things. But fucking, you know, before you know it, it's like, every time you're drinking, you're taking these pills with that guy, and then all of a sudden they're not fucking free anymore.
Right.
All of a sudden it's $20 for an oxy, and all the guys are fucking rushing to his room at 5 a.m. before we go to work, pounding on the door. Hey, you got any oxys? And like, then you got 30 guys on site, and everybody's fucked on prescriptions, building this fucking thing, using heavy machinery. It's fucking dangerous, dude.
Yeah, don't you see that the bottle says do not use heavy machinery? Totally.
Yeah. No one listens.
But you didn't develop a habit for oxys or anything at that point.
You know what, man? Like, I think that you can engage in a lot of different things in life, and I think the power of the mind is really fucking important, because I think if I would have realized, hey, this shit's essentially heroin, and that's really fucking addictive.
Yeah.
And this is like a very dangerous substance that you're fucking around with. If I would have known those things, maybe I would have fucking got addicted. But I didn't know that shit was like heroin. I didn't know that it was like addictive. I didn't know you could develop a dependency. And
so just by not knowing, he wasn't at risk. That's interesting. I had a similar, I don't know if it's the same though. I had a similar experience with smoking. I smoked for like 2 months maybe when I was 14 or 15. And really at the time I was heavily involved in swimming. I was varsity swimming for all 4 years in high school. But like as soon as it started to affect my swimming times, I was just like, nope, not for me. Thanks. But like I think back, man, what bullet did I dodge by just having other priorities in life? Ooh. Oh, it's crazy to think about. I haven't thought about that in so long.
Because that didn't exist in my brain, it just never fucking hooked me like that. So like I would take some fucking oxys and get drunk and fucking party with the guys and have a great time. And if I didn't fucking take oxys for fucking 4 days, I didn't get dope sick. I didn't have withdrawals. I didn't fucking deal with any of that shit. I literally think it was because
You just didn't know.
it was like,
That's crazy.
I heard this story one time about Christopher Columbus like sailing into the shores of North America, and all of the Native Americans were like standing on the shores and they didn't see the boats coming because they'd never seen it before. They had no knowledge. They had nothing to contextualize. They had no reference point
Like,
for
what's
what
a
they were
boat?
looking at. So they didn't fully realize what was happening and the danger that they were potentially going to be in. And I kind of feel like that's kind of what went on with those oxys, is that I was just taking it and having fun and partying, completely oblivious and ignorant to the fact that what I was taking and the potential ramifications it would have on my life. So, you know, there was like, we did it pretty consistently for a couple months, but then the fucking job ended and so did taking oxys. You know what I mean?
So you never became addicted to OxyContin, which is good.
But the drinking stuck.
Right. So like, how did the alcoholism develop? And I think, I mean, like there are so many aspects of your story that it's just ridiculously inspiring. And the story is nuts to me, but I never heard the end of the alcoholism or even just the alcoholism in general and how you kind of coped as a using alcoholic and wrote hip hop and performed. Like, what was that stage like?
I was just super fucking high functioning. And I never
Lucky.
really, once again, I think that my ignorance probably saved me a little bit. Because I never, it was a slow burn. I think that sometimes people get addicted to something and it happens all at once and really suddenly and intensely, and they're fucking in it. And for me, it was just like I was drinking and I really liked it. And I would associate, you know, all the best times that I was having with getting drunk and drinking with my friends. And I never looked at it as, oh, I need to drink, I need to get drunk. I always looked at it as, I want to have a good fucking time. And I knew that alcohol always like accelerated that and set that off. So it was a slow thing, man. You know, at first it was like,
It's a really interesting perspective. It wasn't the I have to drink. It was just I want to have a good time. Somehow his ignorance of these things really helped him out, because not having those mental associations, I think really, really helped him out. Because when people do have them, like, I have to do this, I'm compelled to do this, I need these things to function, like that mental space is so dangerous.
drinking, you know, whatever, a couple beers, shot of whiskey, whatever.
Couple
and then it
more
was,
beers.
you know, drinking 12 beers and fucking 6 shots of whiskey. And then it was drinking 12 beers at home before we went to the bar, and then drank another 12 beers and more whiskey. And
That's economically smart, but very risky. Don't drive yourself if you're going to do that.
this whole shit is like very slowly over time built up and built up and built up and built up and built up to the point where like I'm getting home from the bar or whatever at fucking 3-4 in the morning, drinking more when I get to the house, putting my headphones on, setting up my microphone. Like I got a computer here that like I went back and listened, like it's the computer's, you know, 6-7 years old or whatever. I went back and listened to like a lot of those things I was recording, and like I couldn't understand a fucking word I was saying. I was so fucked up. And I have all of those sessions still on my computer where it's just like I got home, I was fucking wasted, and I put on my fucking headphones and record a bunch of music that was fucking, you could not decipher the words. I was so fucking drunk. And you know, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd always have a couple beers next to my bed. So when I woke up, I just grab a beer, crush that.
I kind of wonder, why do you think it is, and maybe he'll get to this at some point, but why does he still have that computer? Why do you think he kept all that music that he knows he can't understand? Do you think he did it as a reminder, or do you think it's more of a catalog? I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Like why mentally would you want to keep something like that that would be a reminder of a time that was bad or worse?
go out, like play some fucking video games, hang out with my buddies, invite some friends over, drink during the day. There was a bar fucking close to the house where you could get anything on the menu for $5. We'd go there to eat lunch. That'd be my first meal of the day. And then we'd just sit there all day and fucking drink and drink and drink, get another $5 meal, and then head out on the fucking to the city and go to all the other bars and the clubs and you know, just a really slow fucking thing that I didn't even really realize that it was happening until it was fucking way too late.
Also, when you think economically, like what does that look like? How much money is he spending every day? If he's starting at least $10 for food, that's fine. But how many drinks is he having? Like bar drinks aren't cheap either. Or maybe he found a dive where they were, but like you figure you're doing like 12, 15 drinks a day. Like that gets expensive fast.
And what would, I mean, that's the classic alcoholic progression. You know what I mean? Like it's classic alcoholic progression. How did you know when it was too late? Like what made you be like, fuck, I need to take a look at this. I need to do something. Like when did it catch up with you and how?
It never dawned on me until I had like this one moment where I was partying all night, got home, was drinking at the house, laid down in my bed, and I don't really remember what it was. Something made me get up out of bed. Maybe I was like turning in the fucking channel on the TV, or I got up to take a piss, or I don't really know what the fuck it was, but I got up out of my bed, and when I sat up, like the whole fucking room went like, and I like kind of like fell over and like put my hand down, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like this was like way beyond some like dizzy from being drunk shit. This was like something else. And all of a sudden, like my heart starts fucking racing, boom, 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 and I can hear it in my fucking ears. And I get like this tunnel vision, and I fucking get up off the bed, and I had all of these, I was living in this shitty little basement suite at the time, and I had all of these boxes of CDs that I had purchased of my CDs that I was going to try to sell so I could make money. Didn't fucking sell any of them. So I had 900 copies of this CD in boxes, and I would stack them up in my room and put a blanket over them. And that's what I was using as like a table or like a work surface. And so I had like my computer, my microphone, and all this decorations and shit sitting on top of these boxes covered with a blanket. And I fell into the boxes and fucking pushed everything off the shelf, put my fucking hands on the wall, and the whole fucking, felt like I was like on a boat. The whole place was moving. And I'm like mentally just fucking freaking the fuck out because I think I'm dying.
Thankfully, I have never, to my recollection, been that bad. Like I'm really thinking back, and the only time I ever got horrendously sick, the one time I tried weed, it was a vape pen, hit it way too hard. Got very, very sick. But like with drinking, I don't know if I ever had that. I definitely blacked out a couple of times. Don't get me wrong, but never anything like that. Never violent room movements or like that. That would have fucked me up pretty bad. And it sounds like it did him. Scared him straight.
And I'm like, holy shit, like I gotta fucking, what the fuck? So I like walk out of the bedroom, barely make it through the house into the bathroom, grab on the fucking sink and look at myself in the mirror. And my face is so fucking white that I literally don't recognize myself. Like, and I don't mean like I saw myself and thought, oh, like I look a little pale. I literally did not fucking recognize myself. I looked in the mirror and I was like fucking shocked. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's not me. Like, what the fuck is going on? Which is triggering all types of shit in my head. And I start freaking out even worse. Boom, 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 boom. Fucking heart's going. I'm like, I can't fucking breathe. My legs are feeling weak. I take it, every step I take, it feels like I weigh a fucking million pounds.
Sounds like he was having a heart attack or some other blood pressure related issue. I don't know how many of you have ever been dehydrated or any other medical condition that results in very, very low blood pressures. Maybe that's the closest I've been to this, is I got extremely dehydrated because of the shooks, you know, when you're double dragoning it because you're very sick. Couldn't even sit up, had to lay down in the car, like put the car seat all the way down. My ex, 2 exes ago, had to drive me to the hospital and I couldn't even sit up because I was so nauseous. Like that actually sounds about like this. Super pale, couldn't feel anything. Blood pressure was so low, the ER people were like, how did you get here? Sounds like he might have been having some medical issue.
Until, you know, I can't, completely lost touch with reality. Like completely. Like it was a complete fucking
Break.
mental unraveling, like just completely done. And this is really fucked up. I don't think I ever really talked about this, but what ended up happening was I laid on the floor because I couldn't carry my weight with my phone in my hand. And I had 911 dialed on my phone. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, if I start to like fucking nod off or like, or, you know, getting pain in my chest, or if this gets any more fucked up than it already is, I'm just going to hit fucking call on 911. Hopefully they're going to fucking find me here on the fucking floor and whatever, you know what I mean? So I'd actually, at some point in time, I'd scribbled a note, for the EMTs or whoever would potentially find me that just said like, I've been drinking. This is what happened. This is my name. This is my parents' phone number. And like fucking preparing to like die. Like,
how did you write all that stuff if you were that drunk? God dang. The wherewithal to be able to write those things and hopefully be accurate when you're that intoxicated, that's actually kind of impressive.
it was like fucked up. I started to feel like a little bit better and I got up off the floor. And what ended up happening after that was, you know, it's like 4 a.m. at this time. And I'd had one other panic attack before in my life. And it happened like maybe 4 months prior to that, where I had been drinking quite heavily and also smoked weed and also drank a couple cups of coffee. And for whatever reason, that combination just like gave me like a fucking panic attack. I'd never had a panic attack before. What ended up happening was actually I was at my friend's place and we were drinking vodka and drinking coffee and smoking weed. And all of a sudden I started to feel like some kind of weird, floaty, dizzy like sensation.
Yeah, don't mix things, guys. Like, try not to do things at all, but like definitely don't mix things.
And I got up off the couch and I was like, I got to take a piss. And I walked into the bathroom and closed the door behind me. And I was like, you know, trying to figure out, why am I fucking feeling like this? I've never felt like this before. Like, what the fuck's going on? And I'm just in the bathroom, like trying to breathe. And then I realized like, oh, I've been in the bathroom for fucking 20 minutes and everybody else is sitting in the living room right on the other side of this door. And I haven't, like, when somebody goes to take a piss in the bathroom, you can hear somebody take a piss in the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, fuck, they haven't like heard me take a piss. They were probably like, what the fuck is this guy doing in there? So I like flushed the toilet and then turned the sink on to make it seem like I had taken a piss, but I was really just bugging out. Right. And that fucking weirded me out even more. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck am I doing? Like pretending that I just took a leak so that they don't know that I'm freaking the fuck out. Like, what the fuck? So I went out, grabbed my backpack. I was like, I gotta go. And I fucking left. And that was like the first panic attack I ever had. And that was like a few months prior to this fucking mental break that I'm having. So
that's wild.
I start to like feel a little bit better. My body starts to feel like not as heavy. I close the fucking 911 on my phone, but I keep the note at the door just in case. What ends up happening is I get up and I'm so fucking rattled that like the physical effects, the heaviness is kind of gone. I'm still fucking, my heart is pounding in my fucking ears. I'm still dizzy, but I can carry my own weight. So this is fucked up. But what ended up happening was I walked from the bathroom to my bedroom. I turned on the lights in my bedroom. Then I'd walk back to the bathroom, look at myself in the mirror, walked back to the bedroom, didn't like how the bedroom felt with the lights on, turned the lights off, walked back to the bathroom, turned the lights off in the bathroom, walked back to the bedroom. It felt scary with the lights off, turned the lights back on, walked back to the bathroom, turned the lights back on, looked at myself in the mirror, walked back to the bed. This cycle.
That's madness.
This back and forth from the bedroom to, this is like a psychotic episode.
Right.
And I walked those laps until like 8:30 or 9 in the morning. Did not stop the entire time. Acute anxiety, complete detachment from the world around me. Like
total
anything
break.
else.
Yes.
Gone. So then I ended up like laying down and I had like an iPad sitting next to the bed and I put Jimmy Fallon on. Just something mindless that like I could try to like sleep to.
Jimmy Fallon is mindless, so that was a good choice.
Yeah, which didn't work. But I kept telling myself, you know, you're going to go to bed, you're going to wake up tomorrow, and everything's going to be fucking fine. You're going to be back to normal. But I went to sleep and I woke up and I didn't feel normal again. I felt as bad, if not worse, than the fucking night before. So that ended up, I called my dad was sailing around the world at this point in time. He was on this big sailing trip, and
Weird.
I ended up calling my mom that morning, and she didn't pick up, and I left a real fucking scary voicemail on her phone, just saying that, like, hey, like, something's wrong, and like, I don't know what it is, and I don't know what's going to happen, but something's wrong. And
That probably
at that point,
came
I
off
pretty much
real
cut
dark.
off everyone. Stopped talking to my friends. They could call, I wouldn't answer. I did not leave that apartment at all.
Were you drinking in that period, or smoking weed, or were you just total in a psychotic, paranoid
Gone.
break? Right.
Yeah, done. I quit everything. Like that day. No more drinking, no more smoking weed, no more smoking cigarettes, no more fast food, no more soda, no more coffee, nothing. Like horrified, like terrified of everything.
Right.
No coffee? I don't know if I could do it.
So like, and that got to the point where like my mom called my dad and she was like, yo, like, this is what's going on with Thomas. I don't know what the fuck, how to deal with it. Like,
I don't know why him calling himself Thomas hit my funny bone so much. I've never thought about Tom MacDonald as being a Thomas, but that actually makes sense.
it's bad. And then, I talked to my dad a few times. Like, he would, like, literally was like 250 miles off the fucking coast of civilization, and he's like sailing in so he can get on phones and call me and be like, what the fuck is going on? So I end up going to a doctor and telling the doctor what the fuck's going on, and I think I was misdiagnosed. They told me that I had GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, and they gave me Cipralex for it. Okay. And that was supposed to fucking solve the problem.
Guys, pills are not the solution. They might help for a period. Even I got put on antidepressants when my son passed away. Like, they helped me get my feet under me very briefly, and I took myself off of them, because the way that you feel when you are on SSRIs or any other kind of pills, like, guys, it's not a long-term solution. It's not good.
And that fucking made everything worse. The Cipralex made me like manic. I was never depressed. Right. I was scared. I had anxiety. And Cipralex
like panic
was like
attack disorder, something like that.
Yeah, but it was constant. Like, there was no break in it. It was never like, oh, and I feel okay for 5 minutes and it's back. It was fucking acute mental unwellness 24/7 consistently. So they gave me the Cipralex and I took it. And I remember I was talking to my roommate.
I finally was able to read his hands. Fear only yourself, or fear your only self. Interesting.
One time, and I was so fucking jacked up on this Cipralex because it's got the serotonin just fucking just like pumping through me, that I was talking to him, and I got so fucking excited about what I was talking to. I punched the fucking door frame that I was standing into my bedroom and broke my pinky finger because I was so fucking jacked up. And then I was like, whoa, like, what the fuck? Like, that wasn't normal. No. So I went back to the doctor, and this whole time, I'm like talking to my folks and telling them what's going on, and it's still very fucking scary and new and not figuring any of this shit out. I go back to the doctor. I tell him what happened with the Cipralex. I was getting these, like, from the Cipralex, I would feel literally a rush from my fucking brain, like down my fucking neck, like into my body, like this blast of like fucking manic energy. So I told him about all this shit, and he's like, okay, like, we'll take you off the Cipralex, and he put me on something else, Seroquel.
Right. Antipsychotic.
Yeah. And I had this video shoot that I had to be on, and I hadn't been out of the house in fucking weeks at this point. But I can't cancel this video shoot. It's still like it's of paramount importance in my life, the music shit, whether I'm fucked up or not fucked up. I had to do the music thing. So I go to this music video shoot. It's like the worst video shoot that you could possibly imagine, because for this treatment that I wrote, it was this song called How the West Was Won, and it was a reenactment of the shooting that took place in Paris many years ago. There was a
Charlie Hebdo, that one?
bunch of people that went to a concert, and there was some gun.
The Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh, okay, that one. Different.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they went in and fucking slaughtered everyone.
Yeah.
And so we were doing a piece like that, which required, 100 people to be in the room with me, and me standing up on stage in front of 100 fucking people after being alone in my apartment in the midst of a fucking psychosis for fucking weeks at this point in time. So standing up on a stage in front of a bunch of people is like, that's nightmare scenario. But I do it, and the doctor said, like, hey, like, the Seroquel shit, take it situationally, like when you need it. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm at the music video shoot. I'm fucking trying to hold myself together. People are talking to me, and I'm fucking, staring through them and just nodding my head and being like, And for these last couple of weeks, bro, like, I'm not fucking talking to anyone. I'm not eating. I'm not sleeping. I'm not anything. I'm like waking up in the morning and forcing myself to fucking make one piece of toast and one fried egg. And I'm putting the egg on the toast, and I'm cutting it into 30 tiny pieces. And I'm putting one tiny fucking piece of shit in my mouth, and I'm gagging, trying to fucking eat anything. Like, totally fucked. So I'm at this video shoot, and
dude, hearing about this is crazy. Like, I can't even imagine living this. I don't know how many of you out there in the audience have lived an experience like this, but that overcoming this is monumental. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. It's crazy.
And I'm doing my best to fucking keep the wheels on the thing and failing at it miserably. And I remember like walking out of the front doors of the venue and standing on the sidewalk. And I had my friend with me, and I said, hey, I'm going to take one of these fucking Seroquels, because like, I'm not going to make it through this. Yeah, I'm not going to make it through this shit. So I fucking take the Seroquel and stand there for fucking, 10 minutes, call my mom. I'm like, hey, I just took this fucking pill or whatever, just so you know, I took it. Just want everybody to know about it. I'm not like a big medication guy, so that's like a big deal for me to be taking a fucking antipsychotic like that. So stand there for about 10 minutes, start to feel like a little bit better, weirdly better. Like, it doesn't feel like, still don't feel like myself, but I feel less like the fucking lunatic that I've been for the last 3 weeks. So go up the stairs, walk into this fucking venue, and I take a step, and it's like, boom.
You fall down.
And I'd say, no, I go like, all of it, my body weighs like a fucking bajillion pounds. Yeah. Like, I take one step, and it's like whoosh, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I take another step, boom. And like, like when you fucking turn your head, everything stays as it is. But I fucking turned my fucking head, and the whole fucking room went like, it was like a freeze frame. And I was like, holy fuck. And I remember like walking up to the guy who was directing at the time, and I'm usually the director, but I had a director there because I knew I wasn't capable. And I said to him, hey, I gotta go. I'm having a fucking panic attack. I have to leave. Get everything fucking set up. Shoot everything that you can shoot without me. I'll come back at the end to shoot my part. He's like, okay, cool. And then I blink, and I'm fucking in a vehicle with my friend, and I'm like looking at it's blazing hot sunny day, and the sun's coming in through the window shield. Shit's like burnt into my brain. I remember it like it was fucking yesterday. And
Dang, that's crazy vivid memories about this. Like, just hearing him talk about this is still just so mind-boggling. I'm very glad that I cannot relate.
Looking at the sun through the branches and shit, and I like turn and look at him, and he's like, are you good? And I was like, yeah. And I blink, and I'm fucking stumbling through my backyard, and I blink, and the key's in the thing, and I walk into the house, and that's it. That's the last thing I remember. And then like fucking 4 or 5 hours later, my homie's shaking me. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, they're ready for you on set. Like, we got to go. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And I woke up at this weird fucking, life felt really placid for like the first time in like a long time, I had this synthetic calmness like about myself that like,
Yeah, and that's the part of the SSRIs that I got put on that I did not like. I did not like it one bit. I've told this story on channel before, but I wrecked my car on the way to the bar. Maybe I didn't give the scenario. Me and my friends were getting in the car. We all got in my car, started driving, wrecked it. Got out, looked at it, and I was like, that sucks. Well, let's drive it back to the house and we'll take yours. So I just drove it back, parked it, got in my friend's car, went out drinking. My give a fuck level was so low from being on those SSRIs. It's just like he's talking about right here. That synthetic feeling of just no highs, no lows, like that feeling, bro, it's not a good thing. And then to go drinking, you're not supposed to drink when you're on SSRIs. I drank copiously. Don't do that.
I could still feel shit raging in the background, but it wasn't like
It was like on
reaching
mute.
the surface.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, okay,
Yeah, I've
cool,
taken
let's do it.
Seroquel. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's fucking gnarly, dude.
I haven't taken that one.
I went and did the shoot and fucking everything was fine. But when I got home, I was like, well, I'm never taking that fucking shit again, ever. That was fucked up. So I never take it again. And it comes off of mute and it comes back fucking loud. And, you know, like I had one friend come over one time. And he sat on the couch in my living room and I sat on my bed in my bedroom and talked to him through my open door. Like I couldn't even be in the same room as somebody. And it was getting like so gnarly and I was like falling further and further down this hole that like something bad was going to happen, dude. Like I was going to fucking kill myself. Like I just couldn't do it. Yeah, I couldn't. I just could not fucking do it. And I'd probably made some veiled references to like, I never said, hey, I'm going to fucking kill myself or something like that. But I probably said a few times, like, I remember my way of saying that is things are so bad right now that I don't know what's going to happen if they get worse. And I probably said that a few times. And my mom was like, told my dad, and my dad was like, okay, I'm fucking coming home. Like I'm parking the fucking boat. I'm going to sell it wherever the fuck I am. I'll sell it. I'll fly home. I got to take care of Tom. Like my dad's my fucking best friend, my biggest fan. Like he would fucking go to the end of the fucking earth for me. And when my mom said, Thomas, you either fucking come home or your dad is going to fucking end this trip. And this is like a trip that my dad's been preparing for fucking his whole life. Like this is his dream. Like this is it. And there's no way in fuck that I'm like going to allow my dad to fuck up his dream.
So that's the wake up call. That was like, I can't screw this up for my dad.
For me, because I'm a fucking idiot. So my mom tells one of my friends, go to fucking Thomas's house, break in, pack his fucking bags, take him to the fucking airport, and fucking get him on a fucking plane.
You were in California.
And that's what. No, I was in Canada.
Where were you at?
But I was in Vancouver, BC, and my folks lived in Alberta.
Right.
So it's about like an 18-hour drive, 4-hour flight, 3-hour flight. So that ended up being what happened. A friend came, broke in, packed all my fucking bags for me, had a plane ticket, took me to the fucking airport, put me on a plane. I went home and stayed with my mom for 9 months, and it was hell. Like I said, I've said it before. I said 4 words to my mom every fucking day. That's literally it. She'd wake me up in the morning before she went to work. She'd say, how are you doing? And I'd say, not good. And then she'd come home from work at 6 or 7 p.m. She'd walk through the door and say, how are you doing? I'd say, not good. And that was it. 4 words a day for fucking months and months and months.
Dang. Man, I can only imagine. Even at my darkest dark times in my life, it didn't last that long. And also, I guess at the time, like after my son passed away, and things were real dark. Like I still had to go to work. I still had to do things. So I never really fully isolated myself. I just isolated myself on my time off. Because when you're in the military, I think kind of like with Tom and the opiates, like in my brain knew, hey, you're in the military, dumbass. You still have to go to work. So like I still went to work. I still did the things. It wasn't fun, but I think that kept me going enough to not have this happen to me. So thanks, Navy.
And the day was just riddled with panic. Still no alcohol, no weed, no nothing, just panic.
Yeah, all fucking day long. Like, still couldn't fucking eat, still couldn't fucking sleep. Like, dude, when I'm laying down in bed at night, I'm like not even fucking sleeping. I'm waiting for like the fucking next day to happen. And like, this is how fucked up it is. I got a fucking laptop next to my bed playing like rom-coms, like all the dumbest fucking romantic comedies from fucking the 90s and early 2000s that you could, it's just straight fucking good vibes. And I'm trying to soak up as much of that shit as I can, right? So I got fucking rom-coms playing on a fucking laptop next to the bed, and I got a phone sitting on the pillow next to my head playing a fucking podcast simultaneously.
That couldn't have been good. That couldn't have been good for your brain anyway.
I was going to say, not to mention, he's already feeling psychotic. He's got multiple things going on around him simultaneously. That might have been a little much, bro.
But keep going.
Bro, it's all I could fucking do. I literally could not handle silence. I could not fucking handle silence.
You needed
and if there was
right? You needed something in your ear. I got you.
And if there was only one thing to fucking concentrate on, it felt like that one thing was commanding my attention, and I could not give my attention to one thing. So I had to have fucking options.
Right.
Yeah, I felt like there was pressure on me to watch the fucking movie if that's the only thing that was on.
Okay.
So I had the fucking podcast playing on my phone next to my head. I had the fucking laptop sitting right there, and I'm tuning in and out from both of them fucking
what
all
podcast?
night. And
Joe Rogan?
Dopey? Not Dopey.
Dopey.
A different podcast.
It is the Dopey Podcast.
A different podcast.
Dude, I'm like, through the fucking anxiety, I'm fucking forcing myself to like research this shit. And I'm reading all about different fucking mental health problems. Like, because I don't know what the fuck's going on right now. I don't know if I have schizophrenia, if I have some sort of panic disorder. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And, but I'm researching this shit like all the fucking time, trying to figure out what the fuck's wrong with me and what sort of mental illness this is and how does one recover from this type of thing. And like, I'm not fucking making music at all. I've completely fucking abandoned that. I've come to terms with the fact that like, this is very likely my life now. I don't think that I'm ever going to fucking,
do
You're
anything.
done.
Make music
you don't think
again.
You're gonna get out of it. You're not gonna forget making music. Are you ever going to enjoy a minute of your life? Right.
Exactly. And every moment felt like a fucking eternity, dude. It would like be crazy. I'd be like sitting on the couch feeling fucking like in total anguish, and I'd like look at the clock and like fucking 2 minutes had gone by, and it felt like a fucking lifetime. Like it was fucked. So I'm researching this shit, and I'm reading books. I'm reading The Power of Now. I'm reading fucking all these types of self-help, fucking power of positivity, fucking blah, 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 blah.
Just grasping for straws, guys. Just grasping for straws. Trying to find something to make it better.
And in Canada, the healthcare system is like a lot different. So I'm like, I need to fucking see a therapist. I need to talk to somebody. And because all of those types of services are covered by your fucking medical plan in Canada, which you pay into with your taxes and da-da-da-da-da, it's like, cool. When you need a fucking CAT scan, well, that's free. You need a fucking meeting with a therapist, that's fucking free. But guess what? Probably not going to talk to him for 6 fucking months.
Yep.
And you're probably not going to get that fucking CAT scan for fucking 8 weeks.
That's the part they don't tell you about when everyone says, "What, we should have healthcare just like Canada,"
or whatever the fucking case may be.
So all of the U.S. people who say how great it is in Canada, you're saying maybe not so great. I'm just kidding.
It's fucking horrible.
Yes.
All right. That's good.
And
all my anti-Canadian sentiment is finally on the money. I'm with you.
No, shut up. I love Canada, but the healthcare system's fucked up. And don't get me wrong, bro. Like, the United States, in my opinion, is the greatest fucking country in the world. It's given me everything that I've ever wanted. But as progressive and as cutting edge as America is, they should be fucking ashamed of their healthcare system as well. It's fucked.
Fair.
But if you need something and you need something fucking immediately, at least you can get it here.
You just have to pay for it eventually.
Exactly. But whatever. Money is no fucking object when you're like on the fucking brink of fucking suicide every fucking day. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So makes sense.
So you'll find a fucking way to get it one way or another. So that was fucking heartbreaking for me, because I was like, I need to talk to a therapist. And when they tell me, oh, well, we got fucking openings fucking 5.5 months from now, I'm like, dog, I don't know if I'm going to make it through the next 2 days. I need to talk to somebody fucking now. You know what I mean? So I go to the fucking doctor and they check my blood pressure and it's 170 over 150.
Yeah.
Like they're like you're gonna have a fucking stroke. Like you're lucky you haven't had a fucking stroke already.
How old are you? How old are you in that minute?
I guess it's like fucking 5 or 6 years ago now. I think I was probably like 26 or 27.
Yeah, horrible. Young man, a stroke is not on the agenda for a fucking 26-year-old or a 27-year-old.
That's
and
really
you're not,
high.
and you're not
Exactly.
like fucking smoking crack or shooting meth or something that could
Exactly.
generate some kind of high blood pressure like that. All right, I'm with you. So what does the
Yeah.
doctor say?
Puts me on fucking blood pressure medication. Because
pills.
it's so fucking rank that he's like literally worried that like he's like you're like in stroke zone, like you're gonna fucking have a jammer, dude. Like, so they put me on this blood pressure medication, and they also put me on fuck, what was it? It started with a T. There's these little blue pills, and apparently they're made for a lot of like big musicians. Like if they're gonna go do like a tryout for like a fucking the fucking Paris Symphony Orchestra, they'll take one of these fucking pills, and it's supposed to block the fucking adrenaline receptors in your brain. It prevents the adrenaline from binding, so you don't get these like crazy rushes and nervousness and shit like that. Tranopropanol or some shit like that.
Tramadol?
I don't wanna
Anyways,
guess.
that was their first thing.
I don't know.
So I'd take one of those a day. Didn't seem to help, so they put me on 2 a day. I took 2 of them a day for quite a while. No real effect. And like,
If we're taking medication and it's not having an effect, can we just not take it? Like, what are we doing, guys?
at this point in time, dude, like, you know, I'm giving you the Reader's Digest, but we're fucking 5, 6, 7 months into this shit of like every fucking day. Like, it's grim. You know what I mean? It's real fucking bad. So it gets to a point where like I'm like, I need something, and I need something right fucking now. I need something that's gonna like, I need somebody to save my life. I need it. Like, it's like I can't fucking do this anymore.
Crisis.
So I like go to the doctor and I'm like, dude, like I need something. Like, can you give me fucking Ativan? Can you give me Ativan? Because I've fucking been reading about this shit. I'm reading books. I'm researching. I'm taking all these fucking drugs. Nothing's working. I'm fucking meditating. I'm exercising. I'm still fucked up. Like, I can't talk. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I need something. Can you give me fucking Ativan? Can you fucking give that to me? And I'm like begging people at this point. I don't want the Cipralex. I don't want the fucking Seroquel. I can't talk to a doctor, a therapist for fucking 6 months. I need something that's going to fucking save my life today, because I'm not going to fucking see tomorrow if you can't give it to me.
So why
he's like,
Ativan? Why Ativan and not Klonopin or Xanax or Valium? Why Ativan?
it just,
Damn, Dave. How many? I guess it makes sense. The podcast is the Dopey Podcast, and it's about drugs. But like that guy has some knowledge.
seemed like Ativan was the fucking younger brother of like a lot of those big scary ones.
Ativan's awesome. I remember my wife, like when I started dating her, she had Ativan, and I would be like, "Oh, can I come over tonight and get some Ativan?" It was like I loved it. You know, my wife is beautiful, but the Ativan was incredibly attractive to me. So did he give you the Ativan?
Yeah, he did. He
Nice.
gave me 10 of them. And he said, which is fucking crazy. You know what? I got to give credit where credit's due. And that doctor did a fucking incredible job. She did the blood pressure medication. He did the other shit to block the fucking adrenaline. Like, he's doing everything he can so that he's not going to make a fucking addict out of me. He's doing everything. But so he goes, look, man. And I've seen doctors since then, bro, where like I was on fucking tour one time and I was having wicked panic. And I went to a fucking doctor, and the doctor at the hospital gave me a bottle of 30 and said, take 3 a day. And they were like 1 meg fucking Ativans. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like,
God.
Why would you just give me that and tell me to take, that's fucking insane.
Because pill mills, like doctors nowadays are just pill mills. They're just trying to get you to take as many pills as they can. That's why. And it's awful. It's awful.
So anyways, that was way after the fact. Back then he goes, yeah, okay, cool. I'll give you 10 and I'm going to give you 0.5, which is like the weakest fucking Ativan that you can get.
It's a non-addictive
So I'm like, okay.
small dose. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. Thank you. Gives them to me. I go home that fucking day. Like I said, I don't do well with medication. So I wait until my mom gets home from work. And when my mom gets home from work, I say, hey, I got this bottle of fucking Ativan. I'm going to take one of them right now. After my bad experiences with the Cipralex and the Seroquel and da-da-da-da-da, keep an eye on me after I take this Ativan and make sure that I don't fucking wig out or have a seizure or some fucked up shit.
It's pretty smart.
And she's like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'll keep an eye on you. So I take this fucking Ativan, dude. And 15 minutes later, for the first fucking time in 7 months, I felt like myself.
Oh my God.
Like, it was like fucking,
Miraculous.
I am not like, it was a fucking miracle. Like, yeah. I'm not, you know, I'm not like a big pharmaceutical like pill guy and shit, but I definitely think that like they have a fucking place, and if fucking used properly, you know, it's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. But I needed a period of not acute mental unwellness where I could figure out where the bullet hole was. And I couldn't find it unless I could regain some semblance of fucking normalcy in my life.
This is exactly what I was talking about when I got put on Zoloft. I needed to get my feet under me after my son passed away, because I was just doing very, 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 very badly. And the couple of probably 2 months, 3 months tops that I was taking it, it allowed me to do that. And then I realized I didn't like how I felt when I was on it, but it gave me that narrow window that I needed to get my feet under me, and I was good to go. So it sounds like that's what Ativan did for Tom here.
So to me, like, that's what the Ativan offered me. It offered me an opportunity to be calm enough for long enough.
Yep.
Where I could at least survive until I could get to therapy. And, you know, I got a tattoo on my stomach and it says, if you don't know where the fire started, you will surely burn in it. And I had to figure out where that fucking fire was burning at, dude.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been able to do it without that fucking Ativan.
Oh yeah, I think the darkest it got for me, I still have the pistol, by the way. I had a pistol in my mouth. My 2 exes ago, ex reported me to my ship, which got me reported to the doc, got put on antidepressants. That's where the Zoloft came in. Got denuked, ended up getting out of the Navy early because I didn't have a job anymore. But yeah, that was rock bottom for me. And that was the closest that I have ever come to unaliving myself. Not a good place to be. Not fun to think about or talk about either. But just hearing Tom talk about that psychosis that he was in, yeah, I was trapped in a very, very bad place. The last memories I have of my son alive was me yelling at him because he would not stop crying. And it was hard because after he passed away, I had to live with the fact that one of the last memories I have with him before I went to work and before he went to daycare that he never came home from was me being angry and yelling at him. Like, that's hard to cope with. So yeah, I couldn't get my feet under me either for a while. So I agree. Pharmaceuticals do have a place in very limited use in order to help you cope. Like, that's important. But the pill mills that doctors are running nowadays and the amount of pharmaceuticals they're just cramming down people's throats, it's too much. Being on these long-term pharmaceuticals and not dealing with the actual problem, it's not helping people.
Well, it slowed you down. It slowed you down so you can reintegrate yourself into your body and your brain. So, like, you take the 10, do you need another prescription right away? Like, how did that go after you took the first 10?
Yeah, I had to. I went back, dude, and
how,
I got more at
it. How good was it when you were finally back in your head and you're not needing two things at once, and you probably could talk to your mother? It's like even just hearing the story, I feel relieved for you. Like, describe that, like, coming back.
Dude, I just, like, I had completely, like, forgot who I was, bro. I had no idea who I was anymore. I felt like the person that used to, like, live inside me was gone, and now I'm just like this shell of this person. It looks like Tom. It fucking sounds like Tom, but it's not.
Wasn't
like,
Tom.
It's just like a fucking hologram of, like, who that person was. It's like a physical representation of what Tom looks like, and that's it. So when I took that fucking Ativan, literally for the first time in 7 months, I was like, I remembered who I was. I remember what I felt like. I remember, oh my God, like, holy shit. It was like my fucking soul like came back into my fucking body. And I was like, oh my God, maybe I could fucking make music again. Maybe I could fucking go see my fucking friends again. Maybe I can say more than fucking 4 words to my mom every day. Maybe I can fucking eat food that I like again. Maybe I can get a good night's sleep. Like, it was like literally felt like a second lease on fucking life. All these things came rushing back in, all these possibilities that I had completely written off and wiped out over the last 7 months, and sort of submitted to the fact that I was going to be a fucking head case forever. And it was literally like I fucking saw the sun for the first time, dude. Like, it was fucking unfucking believable. Like, it was incredible.
I mean, if you spend 7 months suffering in psychosis, I can only imagine what it's like to come out of that. I have a small taste of that from my, my issues, but that's 7 months of not knowing who you are or if you're going to make it, and not even being in your own head. Like, that's so long.
But with that fucking newfound bravery, I no longer felt like it was necessary to not drink anymore. I no longer felt like it was necessary to not smoke weed and da. So like, I got, a false sense of confidence, and
fell back.
I never, drank heavy like I used to drink, but I drank again, and I smoked weed again, and I partied again, and I started living my fucking life like life didn't just fucking be like, hey, idiot, I just taught you like a huge fucking lesson. You were literally knocking on death's door, asshole. Now you're out here fucking doing the same shit all over again. And, Ativan became like a fucking way of life, bro. Like, and that mental unraveling, like, it fucking weakened me, whether I wanted to like admit it or not.
Oh yeah, after that long, you probably can't drink and party like you used to.
Like, I was fucking bulletproof for fucking 25 years, bro. Fucking bulletproof. There wasn't a fucking goddamn thing in the world that could touch me at all.
Not until
I wasn't fucking afraid of anything. I wasn't fucking afraid of anybody. I didn't have any overwhelming emotions that I had difficulty dealing with. Nothing. I was fucking bulletproof. But that fucking mental break, I likened it to, it's like dropping a fucking plate on the ground and it smashes into 30 pieces. And the Ativan and the therapy and the research and all the bullshit helped me glue that plate back together.
It ain't the same.
And it looks like the same fucking plate. It sure looks like it.
But it's a broken plate.
But you put a couple pieces of fucking fruit or something on that plate, and it's going to start to crack and rattle, and it's going to fucking fall apart again. So, I would get like a headache, and all of a sudden I'd be like, why do I have this headache? I got fucking brain cancer. I got a brain tumor. What the fuck's going on here? Or like, I'd get a bruise that I didn't remember getting, and I'd be like, what the fuck is this? I got leukemia or something? Like, what the fuck is, I started catastrophizing like everything in my fucking life.
Hopefully he wasn't going on WebMD very often then, because everything you might have on WebMD, it's cancer.
Right.
Like, because, I was so used to like, I'd, step on a nail and then be like, ow, fuck, that hurts, but I'll be fine tomorrow. And then I was fine tomorrow. Or something would happen and I'd be like, that sucks, but it's going to be all good tomorrow. And it was all good. That fucking mental breakdown was the first time in my fucking life where I was like, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and it's going to be fine. But it fucking wasn't. It was worse. And that caused like some sort of fucking PTSD that like this trauma, trauma had occurred. And prior to that in my life, every time that there was trauma, it would dissipate. But this time it didn't. It got worse and worse and worse and worse. So now that same fucking, I'm using that situation as the reference point for every other situation in my life now. If I get a headache, it's got to be fucking brain cancer. I'm dying. If I get a fucking bruise, it's got to be leukemia. I'm fucking dying.
Catastrophizing
I work
every
out,
little circumstance. Everything. As bad as it could be.
Okay, maybe he was looking at WebMD.
Yeah, I wake up and I'm like, my hands are a little shaky one day, or my legs feel weak, and I'm like, fuck, I got MS, or I got diabetes, or I got blah, 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 blah. So it starts this whole thing of like constantly getting blood work done, and fucking every time I have a fucking headache, I'm taking a fucking Ativan instead of taking a fucking Tylenol, because the pain doesn't fucking matter to me. It's the crazy shit that's going on in my head that's paralyzing me. So like now I'm fucking taking Ativan constantly to deal with these little small nuisances in my life, and essentially got fucking addicted to the goddamn Ativan.
Yeah. Ativan will do that to you. Benzos will do it to you, right?
Yeah, quickly. So
and are you rapping during that period? You're rapping, you're writing rhymes, you're performing, and and probably it's part of the culture anyway. Like benzos rose in hip hop culture and like partying and like, so it's like you're kind of in this universe of getting high anyway, right?
It was fucking perfect because I was just like, you know, all this shit these guys were when Tupac was talking about shooting guns and selling drugs and pimping hoes and bullshit like that, like, and I couldn't relate to that. That's where the disconnect was. But now all this shit these rappers are talking about, drinking lean, taking Xannies, blah, 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 blah. Perfect. I'm really fucking doing that shit because I have to. So now I can talk about that shit just like those guys are talking about that shit, and it's honest.
Okay, well, if you want to have a rap career, guys, I don't recommend. I don't think Tom would either. I don't think this is how you should do it.
So I made a bunch of music about fucking, bro, like I had an album that never fucking came out that was called Teacups. And it was a fucking photo of 3 teacups on a table from the top down. And there was fucking blue pills, pink pills, and yellow pills filling up the teacups. And that was what the fucking album was called. And all of the fucking music was centered around fucking the drugs I was taking and fucking, you know, I was trying to convince myself in those songs that it was fun taking this shit, but it wasn't fun. But it was my only.
It was supposed to be the cure for your fucking mental illness, and then it became the cure for everything. Then it becomes a habit, and like, where is the boundary between getting high, getting well, and being addicted? You never get high at that point.
Exactly.
And it's certainly not a good time, right?
Exactly. So, essentially, what happened is I got these fucking headaches fucking every day for like a month, and the headaches are so fucking bad that it's like I'm minding my business and it feels like a fucking knife. All of a sudden it's like ding, and I'm like, oh, I could physically like flinch from it. So I'm taking these Ativans to fucking chill myself out and I pretty much convinced myself that like I got a brain tumor and I'm fucking dying. Like I gotta go, like I'm broke. Like I'm in California at this point in time. Like after I regain a sense of self in Canada, my fucking visa comes in like fucking a week after I finally have like regained my sense of self. The lawyer calls, visa's approved, motherfucker. Okay, cool. On a plane, fucking boom, to California, fucking getting fucking Ativans from my doctor, having these fucking headaches, and then I pretty much convinced myself that I've got this fucking brain tumor. And I tell my...
Is this, we heard an Obster Tatum interview. Is this when he moved down there to hang out with Nova?
My folks about it. And at this point, my folks have been watching me go through this thing where I'm like, I got a fucking hangnail and that means my arm's broken and my fucking shoulder's going to fall off and just like fucked up shit. So they know that like I've become like a hypochondriac through...
Oh God. As a parent now with small children, oh, I pray every day that my children do not go through something like this every day. And I would crawl over broken glass to make sure they don't. So I can only imagine what his parents were thinking while he was going through all this, other than we just need to try and do what we can do to keep him alive. Like that's got to be rough.
This shit. Or have health anxiety or something. And I'm going to a therapist out here finally in California and talking to him, and fucking that's helping a little bit. But I'm still like pretty rattled. So I tell my folks, like, I've been having these crazy headaches. I think I have a fucking brain tumor. I can't concentrate on anything else. I have no fucking money. Like I can barely like afford to fucking see this therapist that's $500 fucking every time I see him. So I can only go like once a month, fucking maybe, if I can put the fucking money together. And like, it's just fucked. So I tell my parents I need to go have a fucking MRI. I think I have a brain tumor. I can't concentrate on anything else. I'm in bed all day, fucking And you know, my dad's like, yo, man, like you see like what you're doing, right? Like, you're every single thing that's wrong, you think it's this massive thing, blah, 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 blah. But
calling them out.
I'll give you the money for the fucking MRI if you think that's going to make you feel better. But if you go have this fucking MRI, you got to believe what the imaging says. And you can't walk out of there and just be like, oh, fuck those doctors. They don't know what they're talking about. And I say, fine. Okay, I'll do that. So he gives me the fucking $550. I go have the fucking MRI. 2 days later, they fucking call me. Well, first of all, I went to a fucking doctor and told them, man, I'm having these headaches right here and and it's affecting my vision and I feel all fucked up. And she's like, I think you need to go have an MRI. And I was like, why? Do you think it's a brain tumor? And she's like, I doubt it, but the way you're describing it, it's like such a localized pain. It's in the same spot every time that it could be something gnarly. You should go have this MRI. So I was like, okay, fine, go do it. My dad pays for it. 2 days later, they call me back. It's unremarkable.
They're just like,
they said I had sinusitis. I have a deviated septum.
I had the exact same thing happen to me. I wrote a song about it, actually. I had the exact same thing where I had this pain in the back of my head and I had to get the MRI and it was sinusitis. Keep going, please. Sorry. I had the exact same.
Fucking crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. So yeah, they tell me it's fine. You got a deviated septum, like pretty acute sinusitis, blah, 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 blah. And that was the second time where I escaped like my own fucking hell that I had created. Similar to that, how the Ativan sort of like allowed me to like become myself again. It was like that piece of information. I was like, oh my God, that's fucking incredible. Live. So yeah. So Nova, my girlfriend, she's been one of my best friends for fucking 15 years. Since I'd gotten to California, she had been hitting me up and saying like, hey dude, like come hang out, like, or come to this party I'm having, or come to this potluck, or come to this fucking studio. She had a record deal at the time. Come to this fucking big famous fucking studio and like, see the fucking famous artists that are here and come hang out with these world famous producers and write some music with me and da-da-da-da-da. And I would always be like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be there. But I never went. I ghosted every single time because I was so fucked up and so anxious and living in my own fucking apartment. I literally couldn't fucking walk out the door.
He's lucky those opportunities kept happening because so many people, if you are not prepared for an opportunity when it presents itself, there's so many opportunities in life, people, that you will never get a second chance. So you're either prepared for the opportunity or it passes you by and you never get it again. So Tom is extremely lucky, fortunate that Nova was willing to give him those opportunities over and over again. Super, super fortunate.
So when that doctor called and said, hey, it's unremarkable, you're fine, all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I've been living the last fucking year and a half completely fucking separated from society.
Everything.
Completely living in my fucking own head. Making the same fucking in fear, ruled by fear.
Paranoia, delusion, yes.
Yeah. And still fucking drinking here and there. And now I'm addicted to this fucking Ativan and fucking, I'm in the same fucking situation I was, a year ago. It's just different now, but it's the same. But when I got that phone call, the first thing I fucking did was call Nova. And I called Nova and I said, hey, I know I've been fucking ghosting you for fucking months. I just wanted to let you know that like I thought I had fucking brain cancer. And like I just got the phone call that says I didn't. And I'm going to come see you like right now. And she was like, yeah, okay, like whatever. See you when you get here, expecting to not see me. And fucking 30 minutes later, me and my dog were on her doorstep knocking on the door. And I fucking reclaimed my life. Like from that day forward, I once again fucking quit the drinking, like pretty much entirely. Like since then, I've had like a beer here or there, or a half a glass of champagne, or something really fucking minuscule like that. Yeah, like, but as of right now, like I haven't drank in fucking, it's got to be like a couple years, dude.
What about
like,
the
I don't keep track of it. But, see, the thing that happened with the Ativan was I got fucking Ativan fucking sitting right over there, dude. I got 2 bottles of the shit. But
you've got this disorder. You need, so you take it as prescribed?
Not really. Like what ended up happening was I went from taking fucking 1 or 2 a day down to fucking 1 a day, down to 1 every other day, down to cutting them in fucking half every other day, to cutting them into quarters and like licking dust off my finger, to the point where I haven't taken it in probably close to the amount of time when I quit drinking, probably like a year and a half. But I keep the fucking things on deck just in case. It's like a fucking safety blanket. Like everywhere I go, man, it's in my fucking pocket. It's in my bag.
It's like an EpiPen or something, or like a fucking in case of emergency, break glass. When you started quitting alcohol and Ativan, were you still doing therapy? Was there 12-step? I've seen videos you've done where you kind of do the 12-step thing in the video. Like, was that part of your recovery or no?
No. Did never take part in a program. Didn't ever do anything like that. See, for me, it was fucking really easy. Well, not easy, but I didn't need like a group setting or anything like that. Like, I've always been like a fucking loner. I like to hang out by myself.
Yeah, this sounds very similar to when I took myself off of antidepressants. It was just like, nope, that's it. I'm done with this. I don't need anyone's help. I don't need a program. I don't need anything else to compensate. It was just, nope, I'm done. That's it. Thank you very much, but so long.
And I got so fucking scared, like so fucking scared so intensely all at once that like, that's like all I needed. If I find something that I fucking like, dude, I will fucking do it. I have an addictive personality. If I find something I fucking like, I will do it as often as possible, as much of it as I can, as 100% to the fucking max. And there's nothing that's going to fucking stop me from doing it aside from death. So like when I looked at it, when I looked dead in the eyes of fucking that first mental breakdown, and I was like, I'm going to fucking die or I'm going to fucking kill myself. Like one of the two. That's my two options out of here.
I mean, they both still result in your death.
That scared me so bad that allowed me to quit the drinking and smoking weed and partying. I quit everything all at once. It's done. And then when I sort of crept back into it, the fucking headaches and the brain tumor thing, once again, I was like looking at fucking death in the eyes and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? I can't believe this is fucking happening again. And that scared me so fucking bad that's all I needed. I just needed to be fucking,
Well, it's
water, I promise. It is. It's actually water.
No, there's
need
no
somebody
fucking...
to grab me by the fucking shoulders and shake the shit out of me, bro. Like,
right. And there's no playbook. There's no absolute there's no one size fits all to addiction or recovery. It sounds like a seriously sincere bottom. And the story that I've heard, like that I love because it's such a dream kind of story, is like you're broke and you have the half a cigarette and you go out on the porch and you smoke the fucking half a cigarette and you write Dear Rappers and you've been struck with inspiration. How connected to abstinence, sobriety, recovery do you think the new vision for music was? Was it connected?
100%, dude. 100%. Like, it was two things. It was one, for the first time ever, seeing that I almost fucking threw my life away to fucking drugs and alcohol. And then finally looking at my life with a clear perspective for the first time ever, I realized like, oh, that shit's really not that important to me. And doing drugs is not that important, and making music about doing drugs is not that important. So what is important to me, and who is important to me, and what kind of music do I want to make, and who do I want to make it for? And like, what's my real fucking purpose here? I have something to fucking say, and it's more than, hey, I'm taking a bunch of fucking Ativan and partying.
And this is what they talked about in the Officer Tatum interview as well, is he really found his niche. Right? When he was just rapping the same way that everyone else raps, he's no one special. But when he found his niche and he really narrowed his focus and figured out what he wanted to rap about, not just be like everybody else, that's when he found success. I think that's a good lesson for everybody. If you're just going to do the same thing that everyone else is doing and you're not going to be real and you're not going to be honest and you're not going to find a niche for yourself, you're probably not going to be that successful. You need to be real. That's part of why in my intro I always talk about being real. It's why I'm able to talk to you about the things that are personal to me, because if it helps one person out there to hear some of the struggles that I've been through or to hear some of the struggles that Tom has been through, it's worth it.
Like, what is fucking important to me? So that was a fucking big part of it. I looked really deeply within myself at what was important to me, what I wanted to talk about, how I wanted to talk about, who I wanted to talk to about it too. Like, I did a lot of fucking soul searching and getting to know myself and finding out what was important to me. And on top of that, I was really fucking bitter for a long time, for years, that alcohol and drugs were taken away from me.
Right.
And that's what I felt like. I did not make the fucking choice to
Right.
quit doing drugs. I did not make the choice to quit fucking drinking alcohol.
That's an interesting perspective. I had never really considered it that way, but that they were taken away from him, not that he quit them. He didn't feel that it was his choice. He had to do it because it almost killed him. So to feel like it was taken or you were robbed, interesting way to look at it that I hadn't really considered. But I can see why people would be bitter or angry in response to that, because that's the normal response when you are stolen from. And when people are just trying to help you and you're trying to keep them away from the drugs or alcohol, that you become part of the problem because you are keeping them from it. You are robbing them of it. Interesting. Oh.
I felt like life fucking took it from me. And I was really fucking pissed off about that.
Classic dry drunk, angry dry addict, like angry, resentful, abstinent addict. And how did that go away? Through success. Right? I mean, like what I see, because before you correct me, like when I started doing this podcast, I had 4 months sober. You know, I was a heroin addict for like 15 years. And me and my friend would talk about, you know, like living the dream. You know what I mean? Like enjoying something about our lives. You know, I think my friend Chris called it self-actualization. And I feel like when you did Dear Rappers, that's what that was. When your purpose is determined, your dream is realized, and maybe the resentment kind of melts away because the joy is so fucking intense that you're doing what you're meant to be doing.
I definitely think that's definitely part of it. I think that because I felt like those things were taken from me, I've always done everything on my fucking terms. Nobody's ever made a decision for me, ever. And I felt like that decision was made for me, and I was really fucking angry about it. And I think part of it was that I felt like the best parts of me as a person were the things that came out when I was drunk or when I was partying, when I was life of the party and I was making people smile. I was making other people feel good. And I felt like I got robbed of like the best parts of who I was.
I don't drink. It's his entire song about being the life of the party. We just did a reaction to that one. It was a good one.
And in part, Dear Rappers was inspired by, I was hearing these fucking guys, these rappers talk about fucking doing the fucking drugs and shit that I needed just to fucking make it through my fucking day. And I was hearing these guys talk about partying and drinking and like making all this money. And I was also hearing these guys talk about how fucking shitty their life was and how unhappy they were. And it fucking really pissed me off. I was like, you guys are doing all the fucking shit that I wish that I could fucking do. I wish that I could get drunk with you guys. I wish I could take the pills that you guys take. I wish I could go to the parties where you guys are fucking partying. And I was pissed off about it. But these were all things that were just like sort of floating around in my subconscious that I was never really verbalizing them or like saying them. They were just manifesting in fucking anger and frustration and just surface level fucking emotional volatility.
But that's pure expression. That's pure expression, you know, from that place to the paper. And that's why when you're done writing the song, you were like, I know I have some fucking different thing right here. Something like supercharged with life.
It was fucking like, I used to like watch like MTV and like Much Music and shit when I was a kid. And they do these episodes called Born to Be. And it was like these stories of like these artists and like what they'd been through to get to where they were and shit. And I always just thought like, it's so amazing. And like, they really were born to be. And like, those stories really are like one in a million. And I was always just enamored by it. And I just thought like, oh, I hope something like that could happen for me one day.
Ooh, be careful what you wish for there, brother. But yeah, it's the rising from the ashes. That is the story overcoming difficulty, some modified version of the hero's journey. They're always such good stories to hear, but you survived it and you're lucky that you did. You should never wish for that.
And I didn't realize at the time that I was in the middle of my own story. I didn't know. And it was fucked up, dude. Like me and Nova were living in that house together and like, seriously, like fucking rats running across the floor and fucking bugs in all of our cupboards and shit. Like I used to have to like take the dishes out of the cupboard and like literally fucking clean them with soap because there's like cockroaches and shit running all over them. Like when I'd open the cupboard, it was fucked. They had holes in the fucking ceiling and water pouring through the roof into the kitchen. And it was fucked. And like I said, I'd never verbalized any of those things that I was frustrated with in my head. And It's just like a fucking regular day, dude. It's like any other day. We were just broke. There was time we had to make some fucked up choices. Like we were either paying rent or we're getting groceries. Like who fucking knows? Like our power would get cut off all the time. I've told this story 1,000 times. Like we'd be living by candlelight for fucking 3-4 days at a time. Like I would plead with the fucking gas guy when he'd come to the house, shutting off the gas. I'd be out in the yard, like, please, bro, please don't do this, man. Like, I'll have the money. Just leave the fucking shit on. Like, we used to have to fucking, I've told this before too. We used to plug our fucking fridge into an extension cord and we'd run it out the fucking back window of the house into the neighbor's garage and plug it in so our food didn't spoil. And for whatever reason, dude, that day, like, whenever I sit down to write music, I think a lot about what I'm writing and how I want to say it. And a lot of thought goes into saying things properly and not taking what you're trying to say out of context or distorting it because you're trying to rhyme your thoughts. And sometimes rhyming your thoughts distorts the message. And there's complexities, there's subtleness about this type of shit. And for whatever reason, dude, I grabbed that fucking pack of cigarettes. There's fucking half of a cigarette in it that I'd smoked the night before and fucking snuffed out or whatever. And I went out and sat on the fucking front porch and lit it. And I think I had just watched like a fucking G-Eazy video where he was just talking about like how fucking much of a party his life is and how much he doesn't enjoy it. And I sat down on the front step and I was just contemplating how many times I'd heard that same story from so many fucking rappers. And that's literally like the first thing I wrote down. I just sort of, dear rappers. And I started writing this open letter to these fucking guys that I was just frustrated with. And I did not think about it. Like I said, that like a lot of times it's a very thoughtful process.
Just flows.
That day was like, and it sounds fucking stupid, but it was like literally like the universe or God or whatever it was, something like spoke through me. Like I did not stop to think. I didn't think what rhymes with this word. I didn't think what would I like to say next. I didn't rewrite anything. I just fucking wrote that whole fucking thing in my phone. And by the time that cigarette was done, it was sitting on the fucking step next to me in the fucking ghetto. I like looked down at my phone at this song and gave it like a once over. And it was like, oh my God.
This sounds a lot like John Rich talked about one of his more recent songs. Same thing, about 30 minutes, I think he said. That's it, 30 minutes. Like the process, the creative process for some of these artists is weeks or months. But like with his minutes, John Rich minutes, like those really big things that just hit you. It's minutes.
What the fuck? I jumped up and I fucking ran inside and I was like, Nova, 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 Nova. And she's like, comes out of the hallway and she's like, what? And I was like, I just fucking wrote this song. It's going to fucking change our fucking lives. I said, we need to fucking shoot a video to this. She's like, you haven't even recorded it yet. I said, set up the fucking camera and the backdrop. I'm going to record it right now and we'll shoot it. I ran over, fucking recorded the song. Nova pulled the backdrop down, set up a light. I fucking shot the video that day. I knew that I fucking had something. I called my mom. I called my sister. I called my dad. I called my best friend, Brandon. Called a couple other people, and I borrowed.
Same Brandon, by the way, that we saw in the song recently, and that one of you let me know in the comments was the same person that came and got him and put him on a plane to his mom's house. Thank you, Brandon.
I borrowed $200 from each person. I borrowed $500 from my sister, my younger sister, 5 years younger than me, working as a full-time nurse. Her unemployed, broke, former addict, mentally unstable brother borrowed $500
rapper,
from her.
white rapper brother. Yes, I'm with you.
Right. And I took everybody's fucking money, which amounted to like $1,150. I put the video on Facebook the next day. I put that $1,150 onto an ad on Facebook, and fucking 2 days later, it had a fucking million views, and our fucking life changed forever.
Let me ask you this. Had you ever done that with an ad, with a song? Did you, like, this was like an inspiration, and it's you know, that's what inspiration is. And that's also what like balls is. Like, you had a fucking vision, you had a fucking song, you believed in it, and it fucking worked.
And he took action. When these opportunities present themselves, you have to be willing to take action at extreme risk sometimes. And sometimes there is success. Not every time. Definitely not every time. But it's those opportunities combined with preparation and action. It's important.
And I love that story. You know what I mean? Like, I've been telling that. As I've been researching you and telling people that story, it's like, and they're like, well, that was 5 years ago. And in Facebook, I was like, it's not about Facebook ad monetization. It's about inspiration and drive and like going for it. And it's like, it's the best. You know what I mean? And I love that.
Yeah, I had no experience with ads or like anything. I just knew that like the key to this shit working was getting it in front of as many people as humanly possible simultaneously.
Yep.
And I had no idea how to do that. And neither did Nova really. And she was like, well, maybe you should get like a Facebook ad or something. So I read about Facebook ads that night. And the next day I just fucking did it.
So what came first, the love or the hate?
For
Dear Rappers, for Tom MacDonald, because you're a lightning rod of controversy. I don't know how you're not in panic all the time. It's like, fucking hell.
I got over it, bro.
Right.
It was really weird. Like, it was first, like, there was like a bunch of love. Like, immediately off rip, there was like a bunch of people being like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. Like, da-da-da-da-da, I love this.
And then the haters.
And then I was like, I've likened it to, sometimes you like play a fucking video game, right? And there's this part in the video game that you can't beat. And you keep fucking playing it. You keep playing it. You keep losing at the same fucking spot. And it's so frustrating. You can't fucking figure it out for the life of you. And then all of a sudden, one day you fucking beat it. And the knowledge of knowing, oh, okay.
It's just knowing you can beat it. It's like everything. The progression. Thinking you can't do something to finally accomplishing the thing. Now your brain knows you can do it, becomes infinitely easier. Every time after that, you just know you can do it. You just do it. It just happens.
That's actually possible. I can pass that part of the level.
Yes.
That fucking knowledge, the actualization of something impossible becoming possible,
Yes.
It like changes like a synapse in your fucking brain. Then every time that you go back to play that video game, you can breeze through that part
You know
that
how
you
to
lost
do
a
it.
million
Yep.
times without even fucking thinking about it. You're just like, oh, this is fucking easy. I know it can be done, and therefore I shall do it. It's very fucking easy once you've unlocked that fucking piece of your mind. And that was fucking Dear Rappers for me. I had an epiphany. I fucking unlocked something. I had this stream of consciousness that for the first time I had, and I was like, aha, I now know what to fucking do. So when Dear Rappers happened, I got a lot of love right off rip. And it was like the first time that anybody had really fucking criticized the status quo of hip hop on a platform that was reaching as many people as I was reaching. So
Independently with no label.
I felt like, well, Dear Rappers is definitely not all I have to say about the status quo of hip hop. So I'm going to do another one. And I made Hell of It. And Hell of It fucking went viral and got, a million views too. And up until that point, it was largely positive. What started happening after Hell of It was,
And I don't think we've done a reaction to Hell of It. I might have to go back and do that one.
there was a whole fucking bunch of people. And I'm a complete fucking stranger to internet culture at this point in time, completely fucking ignorant to like the nuances of the internet communities and sort of what they're interested in and who they like and who they don't like.
Which is crazy to think about now because his YouTube short game is second to none. Tom's YouTube shorts are amazing. If you don't watch them, go check them out.
What they like and what they don't. So after making Hell of It, there's like a whole fucking bunch of people that all of a sudden were like, hey, this guy is targeting black rappers and talking shit about black rappers in his songs.
There's turning into
which
a race
had
thing.
never fucking dawned on me at all. I didn't even
hear
fucking
that.
think about that.
I didn't hear that. I heard you talking about culture. You know what I mean? I heard you talking about this shit in hip hop that you didn't like. I mean, I never heard real race in the music except like if I decide to look at the fact that you're white.
And I think that is the haters found a weak point, right? They're always trying to claw and when they catch something, they're like, race. That's the thing we can use to attack him. Yeah, it's stupid. I've never heard it in his music either. I completely agree. But yeah, the haters are gonna hate, man. Haters are gonna hate.
You know.
That's where that started though. Because all of a sudden I was like, hold the fuck up. Like, I'm not targeting, rappers of a particular color. I'm like targeting rappers of a particular content, regardless of what color their skin is. That's fucking insane. That never even crossed my mind. So, but that shit got some real momentum. And people really started to be like, this guy's a fucking racist. He's fucking targeting black rappers. He's talking shit about hip hop culture, which is black music. And this white dude thinks that he knows better. And he's got the superiority complex and blah, 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 blah. And it became this fucking big thing. And I was fucking horrified. I was horrified of it at first. It was the first time that I'd gotten any attention, let alone fucking negative attention. So I was like fucking floored. I was like in shock.
Yeah, it's got to be weird.
And then that's when I was like, okay, all right, you guys want to talk about fucking race all fucking day long? Cool, I can do that too. And I gave him White Boy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
And that shit lit a fucking raging fire on the internet. Like, it was fucking nuts.
Great song, by the way.
I like that song. But I like that song.
Yeah,
and
me
like,
too.
like, I don't know, like, I still don't really understand the racist commentary. Like, I don't get that sense from listening to your music. You know what I mean? Like, maybe like I don't get that sense. I think you're telling your experience. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like what was their commentary what were they like, what did they accuse you of in a song like that?
Oh, just that, you know, like, just fucking racist white dude fucking talking about experiences that aren't his own, and like he doesn't really have a voice in this conversation, and he's, you know, there's so much white privilege, and he's just like, you know, just like empty fucking, he's a racist, he's a privileged fucking white dude, fucking blah blah. This is
Except we've just gone through an hour and 40 minutes in the video. Ways that he's struggled and experienced all kinds of things in life. I don't think any of that was privilege. I don't think dealing with 7 months of psychosis sounds like white privilege. But again, these people are just attacking. Again, these people just found an attack vector and they're using it. They don't understand him. They didn't understand him at the time. They don't understand him now. They were just like, hey, this guy is causing a stir. Hey, this guy's rocking the boat. Let's get him to stop rocking the boat. Easiest way to do that is to target him as a racist. That you see it in politics all the time. You see it in just life in general all the time in the media. It's real low IQ bullshit. So I'm not terribly surprised to see it. But yeah, he starts getting a little bit of success and the haters are going to hate.
same old shit, you know what I mean? And at first, like, I was fucking aghast at that.
I bet.
But when it's your first time fucking hearing people say shit about you like that, like if somebody goes, oh yeah, you know, you're a kid. Like when I was getting fucking bullied by kids when I was young, and they'd be like, oh, you're a loser. You're a fucking whatever. You're a fucking dork. You're a nerd, whatever. At first you're like, fuck you. No, I'm not. But after you hear that shit fucking 1,000 times, you're like, am I a loser? Am I a fucking nerd? Am I
Starts to eat at you a little bit.
geek? Am I a fucking dork? Am I all these things that people are calling me? Because there's sure as fuck a lot of people saying it. They can't all be fucking wrong. Am I those things? And you start believing that shit. You get like fucking brainwashed by people. You start really fucking believing what people are saying about you.
Yeah, it's tough, man, but you can't give people that kind of control over you. It's going to suck.
And I went through that with White Boy. I really started feeling like, oh, fuck me, man. Like,
Am I a racist?
am I a fucking racist? Do people fucking, am I a fucking piece of shit? Am I fucking privileged? Am I all these fucking things that people are saying about me? What the fuck?
No.
And that was grim. That was a real dark fucking time for me, dude. Like, I'm
Did you
like
need any
covering my face
Ativan
walking
through
down
that
the
period? Was that any Ativan
you.
popping in that period?
you fucking better believe it, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was tough. But then you get to a place where you're just like, all of a sudden it kind of like it hits you, and all of a sudden you're just like, wait, hold the fuck up. I'm not that shit. I'm certainly not that shit because you fucking say I am. Fuck you. So then I fucking, I dropped fucking politically incorrect, and I dropped everybody hates me, and I fucking leaned into it. Oh, you didn't like fucking White Boy? Here's straight white male, bitch. Like I started fucking rolling on motherfuckers. And I started
How instrumental was wrestling, like in that? Like, you've caught their attention. It's like you're Rowdy Roddy Piper or like whoever. Like, how much of that is influencing you?
Bro, like, it's a fucking big part of it. Like, in wrestling, to anybody who's an actual worker, who spent any time in the fucking business, like, they'll tell you fucking flat out, the shit that you're fucking seeing on TV today, like, yeah, it's all very fucking impressive and shit. Guys are flipping all over the fucking place, blah, blah, blah. It's like, and the fucking promos are so scripted, and the ring shit is so choreographed. That's not the essence of fucking wrestling. If you broke into the business when I broke into the fucking business, with the people that I broke into the business with, that were coming off that were around in the heydays of the 80s and the 90s and shit, everybody fucking knows the essence of this shit is fucking reading a room. and telling your fucking story to people and communicating your story in the best way possible. So if you're in,
and when you have their attention, bro, that's everything. So you keep the attention. You don't let that shit fade.
If you're in a ring and you're the fucking bad guy and people are fucking booing you and shit, that's your fucking job. The next thing you need to do is make sure that referee's distracted so you can kick this guy in the nuts, or you can poke him in the fucking eyes, or you choke him on the ropes, or whatever the fuck. That's how you fucking tell your story. So there was like a certain point in time early on where this shit was very fucking call and response. And I was like reading the room. I did fucking Dear Rappers, and people were like, yo, I love that. And I was like, cool, I love that too. I'm going to fucking do hell of it because I have more to say. And I did that. And then there was sort of like the rift where people were like, oh, this guy is fucking talking shit about black rappers, da 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 da. And I was like, okay, well, allow me to fucking contextualize who I am and
let me enlighten you. And yeah, it's crazy when you look at it, but how many people that when they're pressured on things like this, they apologize and then they become irrelevant? It's the people that when they get pressed on things like this, that they lean into it, that they acknowledge it, they own it, and they say too fucking bad anyway, and they just do the thing, that stay relevant and are popular. I think a big part of that is probably our innate response to be disgusted by people that are not genuine. So when you say you take a stance on something and then you capitulate to the crowd and say, oh, I'm sorry. That's not really me. I'm sorry. That there is like a disgust response that's just innate in us. But when you have like him and he's like, oh yeah, you think I'm a racist? Fine, white boy. Oh yeah, straight white male. Like I think that response, that being real, and that accepting who you are and just being genuine, I think that's what people, they recognize it and they acknowledge it, and it stands out because so many people just fold like a lawn chair and quit. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit of a rant, but you know, I think that's probably where that comes from. That's probably why we support the people that don't cave.
Explain myself, and I fucking made white boy, and then people were so fucking angry. I was like, you know, and I withdrew into myself, but then I was like, had that moment where I was like, yo, fuck you, and then I made politically incorrect. And people were like, oh, politically incorrect. This guy's a piece of shit. We hate him, da 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 da. And then I made everybody hates me. Like this whole thing was like a fucking call and response between me and the fucking internet. It was fucking wrestling. You know what I mean? It was a little more genuine and authentic than a wrestling match. Because
in case you didn't know, it's scripted. Like, guys, wrestling it's not real. Like physical, yes. Takes athleticism, yes. The storylines are true, no.
I really fucking meant what I was saying, and I really gave a shit about what I was talking about. But I let the fucking audience dictate where that conversation went, and I just talked about whatever the fuck they wanted to talk about.
Right.
There was definitely fucking points in time where I was like, I feel like there's some really fucking important conversations and some important discussions out there that people don't fucking have because they're worried about offending someone, or they're worried about hurting somebody's feelings, or they're worried about getting canceled, or worried about whatever the fuck it is. And to me, it's like, okay, let's just come out the fucking gate with the most inflammatory shit possible. That's going to force you to fucking have these discussions. That's going to force that fucking dialogue to exist. And whether you decide to fucking talk about it with your friends for fucking 3 days and come up with some solutions to the world's problems, or you just want to sit around and bang it in your fucking truck on your way to work, whatever. I'll put the shit out into the world. You guys take it and run with it wherever you want to go with it.
And I think part of it too is that he had come from rock bottom, right? That he's just like, I don't care. Like, this is just me, deal with it. That's not typically something you see from people that are coming from a place of comfort. And having been raised in the suburbs with a great set of parents and fairly comfortable did not, I don't think, set me up to be this kind of successful. It wasn't until I hit fairly low in life that I was like, nope, I'm just going to do this. I don't care what it takes. We're going to make it happen. We're going to do the thing. We're going to do it over and over. My parents still do not understand why I'm here. They don't understand what I'm doing. You know, they're in their 70s. They don't understand any of it. They don't understand why I had a monetized Twitch channel. They don't understand why I have a YouTube channel. They don't understand why I'm working until well past midnight on most days when I still have to get up at 4:15 in the morning. Like, they don't understand it. But it's because I'm no longer comfortable that I know I have to do these things. So I think Tom not being comfortable and being in that place of psychosis, being in that place of hitting rock bottom, being in that I only have half a cigarette left, being in the I don't have power or gas or whatever. Like, it's like I've already been low. Like, what else can you do to me at this point? I'm starting to understand that. And you see it in so many other successful people, whether it's in the fight community, whether it's in entertainment, no matter where it's from. It's these people that are like, I have been in very bad places. I come from being very poor, anything like that, some kind of adversity. And they look at it and they say, I have no choice but to succeed because I will not go back to where I came from. I will not. That's the attitude people that are successful have. They don't have the attitude of, I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm going to do nothing and I'm going to hate rich people because they're successful and I'm not, and it's their fault, not mine. Like, no.
Right. And like a song like Fake Woke, like that the whole world kind of freaks out. Like,
and it's bullshit.
Like, what's the worst thing that somebody has ever said about you? And like, what is the kernel? Is there a kernel of truth in the worst thing that anyone has said about you? And if there is, what is it? And why are they misreading you so much? What do you think? Because a lot of your message I get is we're all in this together and this is where I'm coming from. What do you think is misread? Or is it just like white rapper, face tattoos? He thinks, his hair, blah, blah, blah.
No, I don't think that. I think everything to some degree is like misread. And I think that is part of what music is. Like after I put it out into the world, it's like, it's no longer mine. It's yours now. And you're free to do with it as you choose. You can distort it to serve your own prerogative, or you can try to see what it is that I'm saying and agree with me, or you can oppose me and still be like, okay, I'm going to listen to the next song. Like you're free to do what the fuck you want with it. A lot of music is like written sort of ambiguously so that like, that's pop music, so that a wide variety of people can hear like a pop song and be like, I relate to this song and it's talking about this thing that I'm going through in my life right now, but it's not really talking about any of those things that you're going through in your life. It's written in an ambiguous manner, like a fucking horoscope, so that anybody can listen to it or anybody can read it and they can fucking relate, and they can relate to it. And
it's so formulaic, guys. They have the formula for pop music down to almost a science.
So I've said a lot of very fucking potent truths about the way that I feel in my songs, but I've also presented shit in such a way that is inflammatory. And it sometimes it is a little ambiguous, and it's up to you. How the fuck do you feel about what I just said? Do you agree with that? Do you see the bigger picture here? Are you picking up on what I'm trying to say? Sometimes I purposely fucking say things that I think are legitimate and genuine, but I purposefully say them in such a way that the first time you hear it, it kind of pisses you off a little bit. And then you have to go back and listen to it and be like, wait, what the fuck did he just say? And then you hear it fucking, 2 or 3 times and you're like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I understand where he's coming from. It sounded like an asshole thing the first time I heard it,
and it turns out it still kind of was, but it makes more sense now.
Now that I'm actually listening to the words and hearing it in context with what the previous line was and what the next line was, then it sort of unlocks the fucking true essence of that lyric. And to me, I think that's such a fucking great way to to communicate a message. It's like fucking throwing a fucking haymaker punch at someone and stopping fucking a millimeter from their face, but they still fucking react, even though you didn't fucking hit them. And maybe their first reaction is like, yo, you just fucking hit me in the face. But you're like, no, I didn't. I came real fucking close. You need to watch that tape back and fucking read into it. I think it's such a fucking cool, valuable way to present your art that way. So
yeah, I mean, and like obviously you've reached people in a profound way. The new record was #1 on Billboard charts, The Brave with Adam Calhoun. And how do you feel? Like, do you feel proud? Like, do you feel good? Are you concerned that the message is not received properly? Do you feel like because you are such a hip hop head, is there any concern? Like, because you came up loving black rap music. Rap music in general was black. You know what I mean? Like, do you have any kind of like, I really don't want to be read as this white racist? And does that ever occur to you?
I mean, nobody wants to be perceived as like the fucking racist rapper guy.
Right.
Like I mean, I make the fucking music that I make. I think that when people really fucking listen to it and give it a chance, they realize like, oh, okay, like I get what's going on here. I don't ever want to be like, I'm not, people all the time, like whether it's fucking Billboard or some other big publication, and people want to do interviews and all this type of shit, and they're always like conservative rapper guy, Republican rapper, fucking Tom MacDonald, and I'm like, whoa,
Hold the phone. Do not put that label on me. You hear this a lot from like Tim Pool and other people too in the political space that are like, no, I was like libertarian, I was a Democrat, I was a Bernie supporter, socialist type. Like, y'all just went crazy.
stop it. I'm not that. I'm not a Republican. I'm not fucking conservative. I'm also not a fucking liberal or a Democrat. I'm not the guy that's going to wear your fucking name tag around and be like, this is the set of political ideologies that I run my fucking life by, and blah, blah, blah. It's fucking bullshit, bro. It's a fucking trick, bro. Like, it's like, hey, here's a fucking set of fucking abstract rules to live your life by. And if you like these rules, then you're red. And if you like these rules, then you're blue. This whole shit is it's so obviously a fucking way to pit people against one another. So we're all fucking pointing the fingers at one another and not pointing the fingers at the motherfuckers that made the teams, bro. Like,
Right.
It's so fucking obvious. So, it's like, I do have a lot of fucking beliefs and fucking the lens that I look through my life. Like, I do fucking tend to find myself like agreeing with a lot of the things that people on the right side of the spectrum say. I also fucking tend to find myself agreeing with a lot of the shit that people on the left side of the spectrum say.
So fairly politically neutral, which makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, he is absolutely correct. It is a divide and conquer strategy. When they are able to put you into two camps, red versus blue, great machinima, by the way, by Rooster Teeth. If they can put you into two different camps and pit you against each other, you are not paying attention to anything else around you except the other team. It's like in a football game, the one team and the other team, they're paying attention to each other. They're not paying attention to the audience. They're not paying attention to the other teams. They're not playing that day. They're not paying attention to anything else. This two-party system politics is just being divisive.
So I just take what I think are fucking good ideas and I think about them and develop my own fucking way of thinking. And that's how I fucking live my life. So, I don't like it when people are like, oh yeah, you're the Republican rapper guy, you're the conservative rapper. I understand it. I have nothing against those fucking people at all. It's just not me, dude. Like, I'm not going to play into this whole fucking us against them bullshit.
So there's no significance to you wearing a red flannel shirt right now? That's just a coincidence?
Dude, don't tell me you've been on the internet watching all those conspiracy videos about me. Fuck.
No, I'm just I think just the fact that you're an independent artist
it's a
is
joke.
what you're talking about. You put out your own shit. It's like, that's freedom. You know what I mean? Like, and I think
Fact.
it's amazing. You know what I mean? That's an amazing thing. I have a million questions, but like, dude, you gave us so much time. You fucking really laid out.
I'm cool. I'm cool, bro. If you got questions, like, let's ride.
First time, like, when you go when you show up to Nova, like after you're in this fucking clear, you know what I mean? Was it like fucking lost souls running to be in love? Was it a love trip, or was it like, all right, let's see what's going on trip?
Well, Nova was in a relationship at the time.
So it wasn't for you. Was it the love run anyway?
No, but it's like me and Nova, like, since the day I met Nova, I loved Nova. Right. When she put me on that rap show, I met up with her on the street in the club district to help her put up posters for her rap show. I loved her the day I met her. I was like, this is the coolest fucking chick that I've ever met in my life. She's fucking cool. And, we ended up like best friends for like 15 years, bro, like, or 12 years, because we've been together for fucking 5 or something, but 11 years. But we were like ace homies for like forever, bro. If there's like something going on in my life, like, that's who I called. If there's something going on in Nova's life, she called me, and we were just like two ships in the night, dude. Like, I left fucking Edmonton to go to Vancouver, and then Nova went to Toronto, and then Nova came down to the States, and then I came down to the States, but they denied me at the border because they thought I was this other Tom MacDonald, who's also a musician. He's in a rock band called Headley, and they thought I was that guy, and he had a criminal record, so they fucking turned me around. So then we
Imagine that, the guy with all the tattoos, they're like, he might have a criminal record.
just kept missing each other for fucking years and years and years and years, but we were always fucking stayed in touch. So the first time I saw her after the fucking headaches and all the bullshit, it was like the first time that I'd seen my best friend in like fucking 10 years, bro. So it was fucking cool, man. And yeah, we just, we're on the homie level for forever. And then she broke up or that relationship fizzled out or whatever, and she went on to continue to do her thing, and I continued to do my thing. And you know, we hung out like a bunch of times, but still nothing like romantic happened. We were just like the homies. And then we were like, oh, you want to like make an album together? And she was like, yeah, let's make an album together. And we started making this album together, and fucking, you know, 4 or 5 songs in, we were just like writing love songs about each other. And then we were just like, yo, like, are we just like in love on this record and just like not acknowledging it in real life? You know what I mean? And then, yeah, dude. And then we started dating, and fucking here we are like 6 years later. And
Is that, I wonder if that's the origins of GFBF.
fucking
Is it hard?
Came a
Is it
long way.
hard to be in a creative partnership and a romance at the same time? Like once in a while, I'll have my wife come on Dopey, and we like won't talk for 4 days afterwards, and I'll be like, "You're never coming back on again." Like, is it hard?
I mean, it's difficult. Like sometimes, like for the most part, it's like it's pretty fucking great, honestly. Like, it's difficult because like if you have like a regular job, like I was a construction worker for a long time. Like if you're a construction worker and your wife works at a bank or some shit, like what, you see each other for an hour in the morning, you fuck off, go to work, and then you see each other when you come home at night, and it's like, you know, just you're allotted this time to like miss your home life, and then you come back together, and it's like a fucking cool thing. But for us, it's like, you know, 24/7, like independently doing this shit requires a lot of both of us. Like I'm talking like,
Oh yeah.
16, 18, 20-hour days almost every fucking day. So sometimes it's like we get into a mode, like when we're dropping a video or dropping an album or something, and it's all we've been doing is fucking working with each other. We like have to be like, whoa, like let's like sit down and like watch a movie, or like let's go fucking shopping together, or like let's inflate the fucking inflatable projector screen and sit in the pool and watch something together, and like be a fucking boyfriend girlfriend again, because essentially we've been fucking co-workers for fucking 3 weeks. And like I'm like so fucking laser focused on like what I'm working on at the time that like I might not ever even realize until Nova's like, hey, we haven't done anything but fucking worked on this project for fucking 3 weeks. We need to do something else. And I'm like, holy shit, you're right. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So juggling the work versus the relationship is like, it's super difficult sometimes, especially when the work requires so much time and energy. It's like, sometimes it feels like there's not enough time to just chill out and be fucking Tom and Nova, the couple sometimes, you know what I mean?
And you know what? And the crazy thing is, that's when your detractors come out and say, oh, he's just lucky. Oh, it's not fair that he's successful and I'm not. Are you willing to do 16, 18, 20-hour days for 3 weeks in a row in order to accomplish one goal? The average person is not. The average person barely wants to work 23% of the week. Like, they're just not. And then they're the same people who are jealous of other people's success. Like, get over yourself.
I mean,
Totally. Did you ever work as compulsively before you got sober? Like, were you such a compulsive hard worker before all this shit happened?
yeah,
Okay.
Like,
my whole life. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, yeah, even when I was fucking wasted, drunk all the time and shit, like I was working my fucking ass off. Like, you know, I've never met anybody that works as hard as I do, period. Like, it's crazy. That's probably, you know, the only time that I remember not fucking working is when that was that 9-month, 10-month period where I just stopped making music. So
The
psychosis.
schizoid break was your only time off. Do you ever find that the work is too compulsive, or is it ever like too much? Like you go too hard on the work?
oh yeah, fuck all the time, dude. All the time. But one of the residual effects from when I said I had the mental breakdown and sort of left me with this sort of hypochondria and shit like that, like one of the things that it's left me with is like super fucking brutal depression sometimes. And I seem to get the most depressed when my fucking hands aren't busy.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like work has become like my medicine to some degree, where, you know, I have an addictive personality, dude. It's transference. You know what I mean? I stopped
Sure.
fucking partying. I stopped fucking doing drugs and shit. And now like all of the energy that I put into doing that shit just goes into fucking work now, because I have to be doing something. The second I have idle hands, the second I start looking around, wondering what the fuck I'm doing and why I feel upset, why I'm not working and I'm fucking my career up and blah, like very fucking.
Idle hands are the devil's playground, folks. No, that makes sense, because when you're not accomplishing something, what are you doing, right? And I completely understand that compulsive Now, I'm not necessarily that way. I'm really not, but I understand that mentality.
I am. When people say you're your own worst critic, never has that been fucking truer than in my case. It's gnarly. So I just gotta work or I fucking get upset.
How addicted to like validation are you? Like how addicted to the views, to the likes, to the interaction, to the attention? Like how much does that fucking feed your dopamine? You know what I mean? Because you have so much, you get so much attention. It's crazy, the level of attention that you get.
Yeah, it's fucking weird, man. Like sometimes you want it, like, and sometimes you don't want anybody to ever look at you ever again. Sometimes you're like, don't be around me, don't look in my direction, don't fucking go to my page, don't nothing. Like sometimes you just get that way. And sometimes, like, especially when you've created something that is quite important to you, like Balloons is a song that I put out like last year, and it was sort of about like mental health and addiction and shit like that. And like songs like that are so fucking important to me, that it like really means something to me. When people interact and like it and watch it and tell me that they love it and stuff, it really fucking means something to me about those songs that are especially important.
It's not sober.
And it sucks when they're not fucking received the way that you want them to be received, because at some point in time, like there's like a separation between like Tom the person and Tom's work creatively. But the longer you do it and the more important that it becomes to you and the more of yourself that you put into the music, the more those two things start to fuse into one. And then you sort of become, all I am is the music. All I am is like what I create. Outside of the music, I don't know who the fuck Tom MacDonald is anymore. I don't. I have become this thing that I do. And that's a real dangerous fucking thing.
I was going to say, how do you deal with it when it stops then?
Because the second, I will walk down the fucking street tomorrow and get hit by a car and crush my fucking larynx and I can't make music anymore. I'm fucked. I am fucked. So
well, that's only a piece of it, though. That's only a piece of it. You might be fucked professionally, but spiritually, you know what I mean? Like where, like, are you worried that you lose yourself? You know what I mean? It sounds like you're so invested that you are the character and the character is you. Do you feel like a spiritual missing piece in that, or do you find that you add the spirituality to the music?
I mean, I think I've just become, everything has just come together. I am just me now. Like I am one fucking thing. And like my music and my spirituality and my everything is all so interconnected and reliant on every piece now that it's like there is no removing like anything. And I feel like as far as like spirituality goes, I've never been like the same way that I don't like to put labels on the political shit when people are like, oh, you're a conservative, you're a Republican, blah, 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 blah.
Like,
I'm like the same way about my spirituality. I have a very hard time appreciating anything organized. I don't fucking like it. I don't want people to be like, you're a Christian, you're a Catholic, you're a Buddhist, you're fucking this, you're that. I don't want it. I want to fucking believe in what the fuck I want to believe in. I want to practice how I want to practice. And like,
I totally get this. Like I am a practicing non-denominational Protestant. Like that is just who I am. But I understand his hesitation there, because organized religion for a long time for me, from late in my high school years until like 9 years ago, I had really stayed out of it. And it was the same mentality for me. It was, I don't want some man-made creation, some organization to try and tell me how I can and cannot practice a faith, especially and this could be a hot take, but Catholicism to me just seems too culty. I don't know. it's a more orthodox religion. It's trying to be more rigid, but at the same time, it does things and says things that are against what's in the New Testament of the Bible. So there is no way to the Father except through me. And then they're like, no. Except you also have to talk to a pastor or a priest or whatever they want to call it. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it, folks. They make strange rules. I understand his hesitation to want to identify it. I hope at some point you find Christ on, but at the same time, it may never happen.
I am more closely aligned with the Bible and Christians than anything else. I pray. I pray all the fucking time. I have a relationship with whatever that is, whether it's Jesus Christ or a fat dude named Buddha or 8-armed fucking elephant or Shiva or whatever the fuck it is. I got a relationship with it. And I talk to it and I thank it and I'm grateful for it. And I think that it fucking, the same way that Dear Rappers happened the way that it happened, I feel like that source like speaks through me into a lot of my music as well.
Came from somewhere.
So I definitely have that relationship. It's definitely like a part of who I am. Everything has become so interconnected after the fucking mental breakdown, dude. I think before the mental breakdown, I had Tom the person and his creative work, and they were different. The creative work was talking about the same shit that every other rapper was talking about: guns, clothes, girls, parties, money, fucking blah blah blah.
Empty shit.
The trappings of fucking life. And those were two separate people. But after the mental breakdown and all that shit sort of crumbled, and then I'd sort of decide like what type of music I want to make, who I want to talk about it to, how I want to do it, and I rebuilt myself from nothing after I crumbled, and I built everything into the fucking same person. So now I'm like making music about things that I really give a fuck about. And I'm like making, songs with messages that really fucking mean something to me. Where I think it's different if you fucking told like, I don't know, like if you told fucking Eminem or Lil Wayne or somebody like, this song's fucking trash, I don't like that song. They might not give a fuck because they might be like, okay, cool. Like, well, you hate my song. It's not representative of who I am as a person. But my music is so fucking close to home and from my essence of my fucking being. Now it's like, if you fucking say that you hate that song, you're essentially telling me that you fucking hate me, because that shit is part of like who I am at this point. And like I said, that's a dangerous situation to be in.
Yeah.
That is a lot of fucking pressure, brother.
Do you think that's a new genre in rap music in itself? Some kind of like emo, like some kind of like deeper emotional connection to the music than just the music itself?
He just said emo. He just said emo. Is emo rap a new category?
Are there any other rappers you think do what you do like that?
I think that there's definitely like been guys along the way who are a little more true to themselves and a little more in touch with their emotions and shit. Like you could probably honestly boil it down to fucking pre and post Drake. You could probably do that. And there, of course there was guys before Drake, but Drake was like the first dude that like on a fucking massive platform talked about shit that a lot of people didn't talk about prior to that. Heartbreak and fucking all types of shit. And
do you think that was because, do you think it was because he was half Jewish or Canadian that he was so in touch with his emotions?
It's a Canadian thing for sure.
Okay.
So like, I don't know. So I think that there's a lot of guys out there that are
I'm kind of surprised he didn't apologize for saying that.
Are doing it, but I definitely think that the how transparent I've been about my mental health struggles, how honest I've been about my addiction problems,
keeping it real,
and couple that with how brazen I've been about certain political stances and views on world events and shit. I think that's a pretty unique cocktail of music, and it's that way because it's who the fuck I am. It's not something that 12 dudes in a boardroom put together and they were like, oh, we could brand it this way and put it in a box and sell it to people. It's like, it's everybody on the fucking planet is an individual. Everybody is fucking different.
That was just taking shots at record labels.
Not everybody gets to express those differences to the people around them. I feel very fucking fortunate that I'm one of the people that can take all of the fucking uniquities about myself and put it into music and give it.
Uniquities. I don't think I've ever heard that word.
To the fucking world. And I think that's created a pretty unique cocktail of music that I don't think really exists elsewhere. I see a lot of guys that are like riding the coattails and trying to do what I'm doing, but that's the beauty of fucking being yourself, bro. Like it cannot be replicated.
And there's so many people in the comment sections, especially when I did the song's reactions for Dear Slim, and anything adjacent to Eminem. There was some comments saying that Tom was fake, artificial, astroturf, like those kinds of things. And it's like, I don't see it. I just don't see it. And the more of these interviews, long form stuff that I see with Tom, it's him trying to keep that going for 2.5 hours. Like, no, that's one of the reasons Joe Rogan's podcast is so enjoyable. Like, this is Tom. And the more I get to know Tom, the more his music makes sense to me. So to me, that just kind of means it's in alignment. I just don't see it. Maybe you guys can tell me where it all comes from other than just haters gonna hate, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, there's tons of Dopey imitators too, so I feel you on that. What was I going to say? When you talked about resentment of not getting high or drunk, you know what I'm saying? In the kind of genesis of Dear Rappers, do you feel any of that now? Like being in this, like in success, you know, not being able to celebrate with alcohol, not being able to celebrate with weed, not being able to party. Does that disturb you ever? Do you feel that feeling? Be honest, Mr. MacDonald. Tell me the truth.
I mean,
you're young. It's gotta be rough.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
Height of your powers.
You know, yeah. You know what, man? Like, yes, sometimes yes, but there's a bigger part of me that's scared of what that might mean for my life. Yeah. So it honestly, like, there's definitely times where I'm like, fuck, man. I was just looking at this photo album the other day of these old wrestling photos, and there was a friend of mine from Canada who was like my best friend in the wrestling business, and we always got put together. We were always working with each other on shows and shit, and every time that we had this fucking barn burner match, we'd always have Jack and Coke. That was our thing. Jack and Coke, Jack and Coke, Jack and Coke. Straw, short glass, no rocks. Just that was our thing. And I was looking at pictures of me and him the other day, and I fucking thought, like, God damn, what I would do to fucking drink a Jack and Coke and smoke a cigarette right now. Like, that would be fucking awesome. Or, you know, when you get fucking 11 number ones on Billboard for one album, and you're like, this definitely feels like the time you're supposed to pop champagne. But I don't. You know, there's like times like that it's like, fuck, it's bummer, dude. Like,
what do you do instead?
Good question. Work.
Right. So when can you celebrate? What does celebration look like?
Work.
There isn't any.
Oh, this is the saddest thing I ever heard.
I mean, kinda, but man, high functioning, highly successful people, usually it's just more work. Oh, I did that thing. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing?
What are we gonna do?
It's not sad.
No, we gotta find. No, not sad. I feel like a tear is going down your cheek when you say there isn't any.
No, okay. Not at all. No,
you feel good.
I just don't celebrate. Yeah, sure. I just don't celebrate. You ask anybody, dude. Like my girlfriend, my fucking friends, like they'll call and be like, dude, congratulations, da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, just wait, man. I shot this fucking video the other day. Just wait till this one goes out. This one's gonna be crazy. Like,
just wait for the next thing.
I'm like, that's my biggest fucking problem, bro.
Man, the group that I'm in right now, that's one of the constant messages. What's next? What's next? You finish this? What's next? What's next? What's next? Is you finish one thing, you conquer a thing. What's next? What's next? It's a great mentality to have because there's always something to do. There's always a next thing. So when you finish one thing, you can take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, be like, yay, did it. Cool. Then what's next?
Is that like, if I climb to the top of a ladder, which I constantly do, I just try to figure out a way to add more rungs every time.
The next
I'm
mountain.
like, okay, how? Yeah, that's it.
What's next?
And I'm trying to chill that out, dude, because like you only ever fucking really, you know, you look at all these places like fucking number one on Billboard, 10 number ones on Billboard, 10 million views, this, that, Grammy, fucking Oscar, Juno, fucking blah blah blah. You look at all these fucking places, all these things. It's like, as places, you feel like it's some sort of fucking destination that you're going to like arrive at one day.
Nope.
But that's the trick, dude. You don't ever fucking arrive. You only ever arrive at one place in your fucking life, and that's your deathbed, and that's it. And all you got to do at that point in time is fucking look back at all the places you thought were destinations that fucking weren't, that you blew past at 1,000 miles a fucking hour trying to get to wherever the fuck it was that you were headed to. And you never really get there.
What's next?
So it's like, that's my big thing now is like trying to fucking look back, or not even look back, trying to be present in the fucking moment when something special is happening, when the fucking billboard happens, when the views happen, whenever the fucking thing happens. That is my fucking celebration now. My celebration, I shouldn't say there isn't one. There isn't in any traditional sense, but my celebration now is when the fucking billboards happen or when the fucking video rolls over to 50 million views or whatever
What's
the fuck
next?
it might be. My celebration is remembering to fucking take a second to be still and be quiet and appreciate the fucking moment for what it is. And then it's fucking,
Back to
I
work.
pause, I fucking look out the window for a minute and I think, wow, that's fucking beautiful. Maybe I take a quick look in the rear view and be like, Jesus Christ, 5 years ago, I was fucking on my mom's fucking couch, fucking addicted to alcohol and Ativan, fucking my life up. But my God, look at that. And then,
Things are going better. Give yourself 5 seconds, 10 seconds, maybe a couple of minutes max, and then say, what's next?
and fucking pedal to the fucking metal and we're gone. That's my celebration, you know?
And none of it would exist without the other thing. Like, you wouldn't be where you are if you hadn't have been through that shit.
Exactly.
I love that. And that's very, very beautiful. And I appreciate that. So before we go, you want to play a little game? My little stupid game? Like, you pick one or the other.
Sure.
All right? Little
Okay.
stupid game. All right.
One or the other.
First of all, who's your favorite rapper of all time?
Eminem or Lil Wayne?
Have you met them?
No.
Oh, yeah. I want to hear the story about the fucking Dear Slim Eminem NFT fucking controversy. Like, are you in a weird
Dude.
sort of like beef with Eminem somehow, or no? It's just fandom.
No.
The post
It's just
Super Bowl
people
bit.
on-
I love that. The post Super Bowl bit.
To me, that was the funniest shit ever. I
Me
thought that was
too.
fucking hilarious. But like, that's the thing though. It's like, I don't know like how he feels about that in particular. But prior to that, like, we were all good. Like, and I'm not going to say like how I know that or like anything, but like, I can guarantee that like up until that point in time, there was no problem at all. Everything was super cool. But like, that's the thing though, is like, to me, it's like, you know, people make fun of me all the time for shit that I do and shit that I say. And I don't hate the motherfuckers because of it. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, you got me, you prick.
Right.
And fucking, and move on. So I hope that's how he looked at that Super Bowl shit. Because to me, that was super fucking offensive or super fucking hilarious.
It was a
but-
joke. It was
but-
funny.
I also don't know what he's talking about. So if someone can tell me Super Bowl, Tom MacDonald, Eminem, what are they talking about?
Yeah, and to me, at the end of the day, Eminem's still the fucking reason why I like, you know, Tupac introduced me to the genre. Eminem built the fucking bridge that allowed me to walk across into that fucking land. So, you know, any way that the fucking cookie's gonna crumble, like that guy's literally the fucking reason that I started rapping in the first place. So I'm always it's nothing but fucking love and respect for Eminem. But yeah, the NFT thing was fucking crazy. Bro, it was like so weird. Like, I had a fucking song written called Eminem. And I was like, first of all, this is going to be fucking hilarious because people are going to freak the fuck out. Sure. What is that? Oh, thank you, babe. You want to say hi?
No, thank you. But
No, but she's probably nicotine gum and a fucking water.
That's true
both
love.
signs of it. That's true love. That's a true addict right there.
Yeah.
Replenishing my nicotine gum. Yeah, it was weird, dude. I had this song called Eminem written, and I was like, this is gonna be fucking hilarious. Like, everybody's gonna think it's like a diss song, and everybody's gonna be fucking thrown into this frenzy. And really, all it was me being like, the same way that Eminem was controversial and that character in the, you know, late 90s, early 2000s, that's the kind of who I am now. So I had that whole thing fucking planned, and I wrote the song, and it was a fucking smasher. It's on No Guts, No Glory, the mixtape. So it was like fucking wicked. And at the same time that I write this song, like, Nova and people in my circle are starting to talk about like crypto and NFTs and like all this shit. And I'm like, okay, like, it sounds cool. Like, you had me at decentralized. I like that. Like, I like taking power away
That's
from
fair.
the man and shit like that. So that was cool. And then Nova was like, well, Eminem's going to drop these NFTs. So I'm going to buy this fucking sick Eminem fucking trading card of an action figure or some shit. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, do that. But I don't set up my wallet. I don't do fuck all. And then she fucking gets the Eminem card with the figure on it and shows it to me. And it's really fucking cool. And immediately I start to feel like jealous that I didn't get one and they're sold out. And I'm like, man, fuck NFTs. and fuck that drop. And like, I feel like I missed out. So I'm like choked about it. So then I'm like, I'm going to go fucking lift weights. So I go out to the gym or whatever. And I like pull out my phone and fucking Google the Eminem NFT drop. And I'm like flipping through it. Everything's sold out. But there's this one fucking thing that's not sold out. And it's the Stan's Revenge NFT. And it's like this little fucking video of like a bunch of ski masks and chainsaws and shit. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool or whatever. I start like reading the description, and like one of the things in the description is this fucking original beat produced by Eminem. And I'm like, hold the fuck up. Like, I can be like the first independent rapper in history to get a fucking beat from Eminem. Like 14-year-old Tom MacDonald is fucking losing his fucking mind right now. And I'm like, holy shit, I gotta do this shit. So I like run into the house and I was like, yo, you know that song Eminem I just wrote? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, just picture this. Eminem by Tom MacDonald, produced by Eminem. And Nova was like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, I gotta get this fucking thing. So dude, that turned into like the day that the auction went off, I got like fucking 2 computers set up on my table. I got my phone set up. I got Nova on her computer. I got my accountant on the fucking phone. The auction's going and it's fucking time's ticking down. And it's like, it's at like $20,000. So I'm like, it's like seriously like some fucking Wolf of Wall Street shit going on in my house. I'm like, bid 25,000. So 25,000 goes up. And like, dude, I'm the fucking guy who couldn't afford fucking groceries and rent at the same time, who plugged his fridge into an extension cord. And I'm still that guy. Like, this is my fucking merch shirt. This is like a fucking $4 white shirt from a thrift store. Like this is my fucking merch hat. Like, I am not like the fucking big money spender guy because I know what it's fucking like to have nothing. So I'm like super fucking scared about sending money, but I want this fucking beat. So I'm like, put the 25 grand on it or whatever. Boom, that gets done.
That's crazy.
It goes up to like 26 grand. I'm like, okay, go to 27. It goes to 27. The time's fucking ticking down, right? I'm like, okay, go to 28, go to 29. It gets to 30, and all of a sudden my card locks up. Click, I can't get it, and the timer's fucking running down. And I got my fucking accountant on the phone, and the fucking card's locked up. What the fuck's going on? Blah 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 blah. Nova's trying to figure it out. I'm like, yo, we got fucking 10 minutes left on this fucking auction. Like, and people by this time are like watching this auction, and they see that Tom MacDonald, the name is popped up on the bidding thing, and they're like, wait a fucking minute. Like, is that fucking Tom?
Actually Tom?
So like people are jumping in there to try and be like, yo, this motherfucker cannot end up with that beat. So people are trying to like outbid me. We're on the fucking phone with the bank. The bank says, you got this cap on your card. We can't remove it, blah, 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 blah. After like fucking 10 minutes of arguing with them, they removed the cap. So the most money I could spend was 100,000 on the fucking dot. And I could only make 5 transactions and 100 grand. And the fucking bid is at like 70 right now. So now I'm like, okay, go to 72. And then we go to 72 and then somebody outbids me. And I'm like, go to 75. We go to 70. Somebody goes up to 86. I'm like, okay, go to 90. And we go to 90. And now I got like 1 fucking bid left, because I only have 5 transactions on my card. So I only got the 1 left. And we're watching this fucking timer go down, fucking 1 minute, 59, 58, 57, 56. We're watching this fucking thing. And there's one guy fucking ahead of me. And I'm watching this shit, and I'm like, it's down to fucking 15 seconds or something. And I'm like, bid 100 grand, put it all down. Fucking just do it. Just do it. Just put all the fucking money down. Boom, fucking drop the 100 grand, and the fucking timer restarts. Every time somebody bids in the last 5 minutes, the timer fucking flips back.
Oh, no.
So it flips back to 2 minutes, and it was fucking dead silent in my house for fucking 2 minutes. And we're like this watching this fucking thing. I mean, I can't spend any more money than I've already allotted. So if somebody outbids me, like, I'm fucked.
Who are you bidding against? Like Dr. Dre and shit?
Yeah.
Who's bidding?
I can't tell because it's just a bunch of fucking fake screen names, you know?
It's like
but
Fat
in my
Joe.
head, I'm like...
Fat Joe is bidding fucking... Like,
I know
half the fucking music industry probably trying to keep Tom MacDonald from getting the original track.
hey,
50 Cent bid like a lot earlier in the day. He was like the first bid at like fucking, I don't know, 10 grand or some shit. So I was thinking like, because we use my real name as the bidding name, like I wonder if somebody at fucking the label is seeing it and they're like, yo, we cannot let this Tom MacDonald guy win this bid because we know who he is and we know what he's gonna do. And so I'm like wondering if they're fucking like secretly have like a screen name and they're fucking outbidding me.
Oh yeah.
But whatever. So if shit counts down, fucking 3, 2, 1, 0, boom, name comes up, Tom MacDonald, winner of Stan's Revenge. And I'm like, part of me is like, holy fucking shit, this is incredible. And part of me is like, you fucking moron, you just spent $100,000. Like, you're never going to make that back off this song. But like, it's not really fucking, you know, it's not really about that. A lot of people thought like, oh, Tom just did this so Eminem would acknowledge him, or Tom just did this because he's going to make a bunch of money off this song or whatever the fuck. But it was like never really like about that to me. It was about like doing something fucking epic and groundbreaking and like making history as an independent artist. I just thought like, this is, you know, that guy's literally the reason why I started fucking rapping. I never thought in a million fucking years I'd have the opportunity to rap on one of his beats. So,
but it is like a super postmodern legendary move. And it's also what you just said. It's the journey. Like, it's the fucking journey. It's like, and that's something like you can go to bed at night and be like, that's fucking cool.
And now that that story is done, I actually vaguely remember hearing about this. It might have been from one of y'all about the whole original track NFT thing. I didn't realize that caused a huge kerfuffle, but yeah, I vaguely remember that now.
That I did that. Like, it's fucking so cool. Are you ever acknowledged by mainstream hip hop at all? And if not, does it make you crazy, or where do you feel about it? Like, where do you land with that?
I mean, sometimes like, I don't know if you'd like consider like Royce da 5'9" quote unquote mainstream, because like in a lot of, I think the essence of like Royce da 5'9" is pretty much like, a lot of it is very anti-mainstream.
I don't know what that is.
But he's a fucking household name. That's part of being mainstream. And Royce has acknowledged me in his fucking songs. I've talked to Royce fucking half a dozen times on the phone. Like, so, you know, he's dropped my name in his songs before. Like, as far as like mainstream rappers, like none that I can really fucking, I'm sure there has been that I forgot about, but like mainstream publications, the Billboards and the Rolling Stones and shit like that, like they acknowledge me.
I'll say I wouldn't be surprised if their studios or their labels prevent them from rapping about him.
Do you think shit's gonna change now that COVID's done and you're gonna go play fucking venues and the world is gonna come out to see you? Like, you kind of had this incubation in isolated COVID, and now it's like, hopefully things open up, because it feels like everything's opening up. And then you're going to hit the road like with this fucking massive following. Like, is that exciting?
Dude, it's the fucking best part of my job, bro. Like, before COVID, bro, like going to those like venues, like, dude, like, I'm not kidding you. Like, I'd show up to a venue fucking 3 hours prior to the show. I would go out front and fucking meet everybody standing in fucking line. After the show, I'd go stand in the fucking crowd for when Nova was performing or when Brandon was performing. And I'd fucking rage with all the people in the crowd. I would fucking get my set done, go to the back, fucking crush a water, get changed, go stand in the fucking venue and fucking hug people and talk to people and shake hands and take photos and autograph shit till fucking 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. People literally had to drag me out of fucking venues. They're like, bro, you have to go. You have 3 hours to sleep and you're playing tomorrow. We have to go. And I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, we're staying here until every single person here gets their fucking money's worth. And fucking, I understand how much hard work a fucking dollar, you know, how much hard work goes into making a dollar. Like, and as somebody who fucking had nothing, like, I get it. So the people that were like, hey, dude, like, you know, I had fucking $20 left over from my fucking rent and my groceries, and I spent 15 of it to come fucking see you. Like, I want to make sure that guy fucking walks away and was like, yo, that was the fucking coolest shit ever.
That's super respectable.
So, like, that's the best part of my fucking job, bro. Without that, I'm sitting in my fucking house writing fucking rhyming words on my phone and shooting fucking music videos. I cannot fucking wait to get on the road and fucking hug people again and just fill up those fucking rooms and rage, man.
It's going to be incredible. I'm excited for you. I'm scared my game is going to be too underwhelming after this interview. So we'll do the game. I might get rid of it because it kind of sucks. I kind of wrote it just before we started. So bear with me that the game is not going to be as good as the interview. Okay, you're going to pick, okay? Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Junkyard Dog or The Rock?
Oh, God.
The Rock.
It's an unfair question because
You gotta
Junkyard
pick.
Dog was a little before.
You don't like The Rock?
I feel like well, no, it's not that. My favorite fucking wrestler of all time is Steve Austin, and his arch nemesis is The Rock. But I don't know anything about Junkyard Dog really because he was before my time. So if I pick fucking Junkyard Dog, it's a cop-out because I don't want to choose my favorite wrestler's arch nemesis. So can I just answer fucking Steve Austin?
Yeah, sure. Third base or the Beastie Boys?
Beastie Boys.
Kid Rock or Tommy Lee?
Kid Rock.
Color Me Bad or Snow?
Snow.
Okay. Chris Rock or Will Smith?
Yo, Will fucking Smith.
Okay. Jay-Z or Biggie Smalls?
Jay.
Hippies or punk rockers?
Punk rockers.
Vegans or people who practice the carnivore diet?
Carnivore.
I guess I'm going with the fucking carnivore ones because I'm just tired of hearing about people's vegan diets. So.
Okay. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, shit. Well.
Hold on. Before we get the answer, what do you guys think? I'm going to guess. I'm guessing Star Wars. I think he says Star Wars.
Picard is like my favorite show on TV right now, but I'm going to, and I think that Disney is doing a fucking incredibly fucking
awful
lame job at keeping the Star Wars fucking saga alive. But I'm still going to have to go with Star Wars.
Yeah. Did it.
Mandalorian or Boba Fett?
Oh, fuck. Boba Fett.
Fucking Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Marvel makes better movies, but I'm going with DC still, man.
That's fair.
Why?
Respect.
Why am I going with DC?
Yeah.
Fucking Batman, my guy. What do you mean?
All right. Toronto
Nova did a song. I should have known.
or Vancouver or California?
California.
Russia or Ukraine?
Oh, fuck. I don't give a fuck about either one of them.
radioactive.
America, baby.
All right. There we go.
Good
and,
answer.
So Canada or USA?
I don't know. It's a tiebreaker, man. I can't piss off my Canadian. That's home to me. But this fucking place literally allowed me to fucking realize every fucking single ounce of my dreams. So I forever have to give it up to America.
Boom.
Dude, thank you. You fucking went way above and beyond for this thing. Was this the greatest podcast you've ever been on?
Without the shadow of a doubt, greatest podcast of all time.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Tom MacDonald. If you come to New York, you got to let us know. We'll fucking get together, have coffee, do something.
Absolutely. I was there fucking 2.5 years ago, man. It's like I have never I've been to a lot of fucking amazing places, I feel like. There's the Parises and Londons and Athens and shit like that. And fuck me, is there something special about New York City, bro? I can't fucking
crazy.
wait to get back and when I do sober hang time.
Right on, man. Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. Oh, at the end, we always say, stay strong, Dopey Nation, and fucking toodles for Chris. Because Chris died.
Okay. Got you.
All right.
Okay. Stay strong, Dopey Nation. What was it? Toodles?
That's right. Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, it is
got
Toodles. He said Toodles every episode, and now we have to say it for him, even though I never wanted to say it when he was alive. It was a big source of controversy.
Well, I'm sure he's looking down, fucking smiling every time you do.
Yeah, I think he's laughing. He's rolling over in heaven, knocking his vape pen against something. Dude, Tom MacDonald, thank you. It was beyond expectations. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, brother. We'll do it again sometime.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Oh, man, guys. Woo. That was a marathon. That was a super good interview, though. Learned a lot. All the backstory about his struggles with addiction, his time in wrestling. Still didn't get why his wrestling time ended. Maybe on one of the other interviews. Maybe Roseanne will get it out of him. We'll see. But let me know what you guys thought. I thought it was a really good interview. I love learning more and more about Tom. And the more that I learn about him, the more genuine he seems, and the more I don't believe his detractors. So thank you to those of you that made it to the end. If you stuck through this whole thing, God bless you. But I appreciate those that did make it to the end of this video. I very much appreciate your support. If you're looking for other ways to support the channel, please check the links down in the description below. You can take advantage of either of the offers from the Rogue Dermatologist and myself, or you can use our promotion code when purchasing coffee from Coffee Brand Coffee. If you're looking for a free way to support the channel, you can like the video, you can leave a comment on the video, you can share the video with friends and family, and you can subscribe to the channel. Each one of these actions helps out with the algorithm, helps us bring you more content. I appreciate your support in advance. You can come on over to the Discord, join the conversations going on there. You can also head on over to X and follow us there at PatriotDad_USA. If you have another song or interview or topic you want to see on the channel, please leave it in a comment down below and I will get to it as soon as I can. Merry Christmas to everybody, as it is now past midnight and on Christmas. Hope you have a wonderful new year. Take care of yourselves and God bless. Go ahead and check out one of the links on the screen now to either subscribe to the channel and see the rest of the videos of the channel, or one of the carefully selected videos that you may wish to see that YouTube has used its algorithm to select for you.